Muy buenos días a todos ustedes. Muy feliz lunes. Es semana de carrera en Fórmula 1. Por fin regresamos del paro veraniego. Gracias a Dios. Y espero que hayan tenido un excelente fin de semana todos. Me llamo Alejandro Salomón y bienvenidos al Casino del Tío Salo, donde literalmente nos ponemos como degenerados a analizar tablas con ustedes. Nada de esto es, ¿cómo se dice financial advice en español? Recomendación de inversión. Esto no es una recomendación de inversión, tíos, recuerden. Esto simplemente es tres tíos jugándole al merengas en el casino, viendo las acciones y viendo todo esto. Yo creo que el día de hoy, por todo lo que hemos visto, vamos a empezar con Bitcoin, pero antes también tengo que decirles, el viernes la Reserva Federal se va a juntar en Jackson Hole y en el 2022 eso fue lo que nos mandó al NEPE, 2023 eso fue lo que calmó al mercado. Vamos a ver qué exactamente nos dice el tío Jerome Powell junto con todos sus secuaces este viernes, pero sin más ni más, les voy a dejar aquí abajo los enlaces. Si quieren unirse al Discord para poder aprender más con nosotros, apoyarse de la comunidad, es completamente gratis. Está aquí abajo en la descripción. Y también si quieren usar nuestros exchanges, donde obviamente si se registran y hacen trades van a tener diferentes premios. Aquí tienen BitGet, que es internacional, requiere KYC y no funciona en Estados Unidos. Y también les dejamos Bluffing, que funciona en Estados Unidos, en todo el mundo y no requiere KYC. Los fees en BitGet son mejores que en Bluffing, pero pues es una por otra. No puedes tener todo, güey, no puedes tener todo. Sin más ni más, recuerden que esto lo hacemos en inglés, pero luego yo les traduzco a español para todos los que se queden con la duda de qué nos dicen nuestros analistas. Y vámonos a ello, sin más ni más. Damas y caballeros, les traigo a Alex y a Farhan. Como de que no, vamos a darle con Toño de Valdés. My boys, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys feeling?
Good, how are you?
Doing
great,
good.
great.
Yeah,
I
just
bet you
been
guys are
watching
great.
Magic Internet Money all weekend. It's been amazing.
It's been just great going sideways like a dead patient's pulse.
Yeah, literally.
You gotta imagine it as finding the next stable coin, so you just watch it go sideways.
So Bitcoin is now becoming Cardano, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Absolutely.
This is excellent. I think it would be a good place to start by starting with Bitcoin, right? Like analyzing Bitcoin, because I feel like we've seen so much movement, but at the same time, no movement whatsoever. So whoever wants to take the lead on this one, let's get it.
Before we start though, one thing that if you want to remove all of the noise from Bitcoin, switch it to the line chart. It takes away all of the wicks and it makes it much easier to see trend.
What do you mean the line chart?
Because regularly you look at candles.
Yeah.
If you go into the trading view settings, you can switch it to line.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of looking at candles, just literally put the lines. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just going sideways, dude. It's been going sideways. I mean, you can see with the candles too, but it's been going sideways since the 29th of July. It's August 19th. That's a long time just going sideways.
At least it's not as bad as the bear market of 2018, 2019. Because at that point, Bitcoin was going sideways for, I want to say, more than 10 weeks.
Oh, yeah. And then once it goes into a real bear market, it stays there like at the bottom, just not doing anything for a very long time. It's so boring.
It's true though. Yeah, no, I mean, many people feel like they have to catch the bottom, but I mean, usually in a deep bear market, you'll just get a tiny range, super tiny range for months. It demoralizes everyone.
And then it goes up.
And then once you sell, it goes up immediately after you sell.
And the longer price ranges, the more violent the reaction is going to be when that range breaks.
Yeah. Yep. So what do you got for us, Alex? We're starting with you.
Yeah, so I want to start off with one scenario I was looking at going, this is something I analyzed on Thursday, Friday. This is, something I think seems likely to me. And this is essentially, it's because of kind of where the daily closed at yesterday. And not even yesterday, because this is something I was mentioning in the Elite Trading Academy Discord over the weekend. Let me take this for simplistic terms. I'll talk about that later. But essentially, weekend price action to me is just noise. It doesn't really mean a lot. We had the breakdown right before the weekend, essentially. Pump up on Friday. We didn't really see much happen though on Friday's closure. Yes, it was nice. Good closure, but for me, it didn't change too much. Bulls were essentially unable to make us close over the 9. Then the weekend starts and we get this. It was just essentially was kind of like nothing really happened. A range and a ranges, as I call it. But Bitcoin's interesting because where it's at right now, it's at a super, in my opinion, key level. Friday's daily closure was really, it was important. And then yesterday, essentially the rejection we saw on Sunday wasn't good. And the reason I say is because bulls really wanted to keep that $59,000 level on a daily close. Losing that kind of, in my opinion, flipped things more bearish, and it also confirmed what we were seeing right before the weekend, where we had this breakdown. Quickly got bought back up, and then bulls essentially, in my opinion, this is where we see the bull trap. And I say that because when price gets to these key levels and everyone magically flips long and everyone's bullish again, talking about the bottom, and you get this formation where it could potentially, to bulls be a higher low right here. It often, and then it rolls over, rejects the 21, and here we are now, just back holding on to support. To me, these often act as bull traps, and when the statistics are on our side saying, yeah, the momentum pivots are down, there is bearishness, and then if we're just focused on the weekly, because I think the weekly is important. The weekly is interesting to me actually, because it essentially, it basically has not been able to reclaim the 9 for a while, and you can just backtest this yourself. Bitcoin likes to be above the 9 and the 21, and nice up only, moves, raging bull markets, as we can see here. But essentially, what we're seeing now is it's as we would expect in a downtrend. This actually flipping to resistance, and it makes it tricky because, as you can see here, we kind of have a cross happening here. Where the 9 now is coming under the 21. That has, in my opinion, implications to the downside, and it could potentially be a forewarning to potentially a silver cross to the downside. But as you can see here, that's still a long ways to go, because that would mean the 21 now would have to go under the 55. But when I see this, it's a sign of caution to me. And not only that, we have massive resistance here at 61,000, 61,200 level. It's going to be extremely hard for bulls to push us up above this level, in my opinion, because not only that, but then we also have our meme diagonal, and then also, the daily EMA 100 sitting right around this level as well. So 61,000 has been an extreme level, and it makes sense to me. I mean, 60,000 is a big level psychologically, and that essentially, basically, we can't forget, yes, we're in a range again, but Bitcoin was in a multi-month range, holding this 61,000 level as major support. It only just recently gave out in July. And I think we all remember what happened on that dump. Massive dump took us all the way down to 53,000. So essentially, what I'm looking at is more bearishness. I do think Bitcoin, has, in my opinion, I do think we're just in a downtrend on the weekly. I take my lower lows by a wick basis, and to me, this confirmed it. We broke down and then smashed it, hit my meme support, rallied up, hit. It was a nice closure, but as you can see, these candles are, nothing special. They're just basically closing, doji candle. They're just dojis essentially, which makes sense because the market's very indecisive overall. But as it stands for me, we're under basically the weekly EMA 9, and we flipped it into resistance. That's not a good sign. The daily as well has now not even been able to hit the daily EMA 100, which has been a key level for Bitcoin. This has been a bottoming point each and every time we've had major dumps on that rally in 2023 and 2024. So, seeing that now flip potentially into resistance here is concerning. Granted, there's hopium. We haven't actually hit it yet. So technically there still could be a a little squeezed up, but as it stands, especially with yesterday's closure on the daily, it seems unlikely to me now. And I'm at this point just expecting a breakdown. And that is why I had that scenario drawn, where I do believe Bitcoin can easily come back down, and essentially hit this $42,000 level. This is a major level on the weekly. Not only is the weekly EMA 100 sitting right around there, which it's gone up a good amount. I mean, this was basically basing right here at 27,000, 28,000. I don't find it a coincidence we were basing right there, right before we broke out to the upside. But then also, why is this $42,000 level relevant to me? Well, this is where we got some major consolidation right here, before the massive breakout that we had, taking us to that
That was
$73,000
the
level.
ETF breakout.
Exactly, and we haven't back tested that on. If you're
Mhm.
if you're just looking at this like at a technical level, we haven't back tested that at all, and it's also we've never back tested the weekly EMA 100, which you usually don't back test these levels often. It's not something like, especially with this weekly EMA 100, as you can see here, it didn't. This back test led to a pump, but it just rolled over. But to me, I have to look at it technically. And right now, yes, this was a significant level. After the breakout, we just never tapped it again. So our bull's gonna take us all the way back here, form a macro higher low, and then try to push us back up. I'm unsure at this point, but as it stands right now, I am essentially looking for more of a deeper retracement in this $40,000 level. And then we just want to hope that bulls hold that essentially. If not, then I will think that Bitcoin will have a lot more downside than people are even thinking about, right? There's like this narrative now where Bitcoin can't ever go lower. And it makes sense, right? That's what ranges do to people, is it makes them complacent in the idea of ever going lower, right? When I'm seeing on crypto Twitter talking about $60,000 will never get lost again, this Bitcoin will never go back down to 30s.
Well, yeah, the one that they say is the one from the ETFs. Like, there's no way. Apparently, everyone has declared already that we're never ever gonna go underneath the ETF launch. I
Yeah,
don't know why, but that's what they say.
I don't know why either. I mean, you have to remember the ETF launch was impressive, but overall, I mean, it didn't do much for the overall total market cap of crypto. And if we just look at this, and I don't look at this trading wise, but you know, they're really if the ETF hype was this a major thing, I would have expected us to with ease break this $3 trillion market cap. The argument is, well, there's so many more shit coins, this and that, blah blah blah. The market's bigger, but then why is each just like looking terrible? Why has it not been performing ever since the ETF launch? Wouldn't that have been bullish? And you can see here with ETH, right around that time we broke out on Bitcoin that we haven't back tested, it's fully retraced its pump. And this isn't a strong chart. There's a lot going on in my chart, but essentially we want to be focused on this $2,200 level, in my opinion. And why I'm bringing up ETH is essentially because it's showing the weakness in the market. What was the major event we just had? The ETH ETF, and it was a nothing burger.
Major nothing.
Essentially it actually was worse for ETH. ETH was doing
Yeah.
better before it came
If
out.
I can say something, would you mind also pulling up the market cap of just Bitcoin alone and not the altcoins?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. I wasn't gonna analyze.
It's not total. It's just Bitcoin market cap.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
BTC. And then it says right there, market cap.
Total market cap. The one right there. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. And so that's a good point, Farn. And no one, essentially, like, this is a great chart. You can see here the market cap for Bitcoin made an all-time high, broke its last cycle high, very strong. And that is why Bitcoin is king. I don't know why people would choose Ethereum over Bitcoin, considering the facts that Bitcoin did break its all-time high. And that makes sense that the market cap did make new highs. But essentially, let me get back to Bitcoin, because why I brought even ETH up wasn't to just trash on ETH maxis. It's just to show basically the weakness in the market. The narrative's not really there anymore. And Bitcoin's very narrative driven. It likes trends, as we know. So essentially now we're getting a lot more attention overall in global markets with the Federal Reserve, Japan's economy, potentially a new virus happening around the world, shutting down. I think it was Massachusetts. Something happened where they were shutting down intermediately or putting more restrictions. Even if that's a nothing burger, overall, that vibe of COVID is going to make people more concerned. And so that's why I'm yes, it makes sense we're in a range, but Bitcoin is essentially on the edge right now, in my opinion. If we do lose this 57, I have 57,700 as a very key level. If we lose that, we probably will capitulate. I don't expect this to be a slow grind down. I think we're going to aggressively move down. When you have these massive moves up, where, remember, these were insane weekly candles we had on Bitcoin. I mean, this one being 22%, the next week being 9%. Then, before all that, not even moving 1%. Essentially, if every single week you would have longed, you would have made money. That leaves massive inefficiencies and loss of liquidity down. So it's something to watch while we're going into closer to the end of the year. As it stands though, Bitcoin should have held 59,000. I don't think that's a good sign. It's also not a good sign that we're seeing essentially the 9 go under the 21 on the weekly. But right, I have to give some hopium because I'm not just super bearish. I just have to play what I see in front of me. And the only hopium I see now is that we are still holding the 9. I know people like using the 5. I like the 9 overall. And it's an important level. We almost bounced off the 21, got right above the 9, but there's still 12 days left in this closure for the monthly, essentially an eternity in crypto. So as it stands, yeah, I mean, we are in a range that makes sense. This monthly kind of shows too, we are at a pivotal point in Bitcoin, because this EMA 9, in my opinion, at the end of the day, constitutes if we are in a bull mode. You can run it if we lose it on the weekly, which we have, but the monthly is still held. And that's why we can't get overly zealous with our bearish bias, because of the fact that it is still above it. And it essentially has held this entire rally up until now, where we deviated hard from it, but it even got bought up here. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. I don't think that watching Dixie related to Bitcoin's too relevant. Just because like what we've been seeing, for some reason, we're getting a Dixie dump, but it doesn't do anything to Bitcoin. It's kind of decorrelated.
I feel like it's a fake out on the Dixie. It's going to go up.
And it very well could be. On the Discord, I mentioned this week's a very important week. Especially for Euro. We basically are at a massive resistant level that it's had some, it basically doesn't like to, it likes to get held down here or deviate when we get to this point in Euro. Massive level for Euro. And why I bring up Euro is because it is one of the most weighted against Dixie. So that has implications, but for Bitcoin specific, and remember, Dixie going up in bullish is not bullish. It's the counter trade. And so then Euro, if it looks bullish, it can cause Dixie to go down. Euro rejecting, right? If it rejects this key area, which has been a rejection point for a while now.
Yeah, if it doesn't make a higher high from the other ones, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So implications, but since I'm analyzing Bitcoin, we can't forget the chart that said it all, which was Tether. This was kind of telling us, a few weeks ago, when we had this nice dump into my diagonal that, bulls, essentially Bitcoin bulls want this low to break. We want structure to break. What we don't want is us to start forming higher highs and higher lows, which is exactly what we got. That's a cause of concern because yes, Dixie really hasn't been too accurate in regards to Bitcoin, but also, tether dominance is king when we're talking about crypto. So something to watch as we're moving into this week, because as it stands, Tether is still looking good to me. Yes, this EMA 100 on the weekly has been an extremely massive level on Tether ever since it essentially was lost in November of 2023. So reclaiming that, in my opinion, wouldn't be the best sign. That would be a major shift in structure on Tether. And we can just go and see the reactions anytime we have, which is basically marked bear markets in Bitcoin. Very interesting point. We're here. BBWP is at a point now where we could start seeing it expand to the upside. And as it stands, if we get volatility expansion, I have a bull bias on Tether dominance, being in an uptrend. It basically at a key level makes sense for them Bitcoin ranging. So decision. I think this week we're gonna get a decision. Honestly, I do. The way markets look to me, it wouldn't surprise me if we got a massive move this week specifically. And to me, I'm expecting downside this week, heavily, a lot of downside. And we have Jackson Hole. I think you mentioned it was on Friday. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, even that has implications because I remember what happened in 2022. So, something to watch closely as we go into this week. But as it stands, yep, I'm still bearish on Bitcoin. Nothing's really changed. I've been mentioning the fact that we've been putting on the weekly. We've been looking like we're in a downtrend here with the lower highs and lower lows essentially. And so why disrespect the trend? And lastly, you can see we're just basically under the 618. Which makes sense if we're under the 9. So that has implications for us at least going back down to the 1, but mainly the 1.618. So I'm bearish on Bitcoin. I don't see how you can be bullish, I guess, unless you're focused on the monthly. I don't update my charts. I just kind of let them play out. And this is something we talked about as well. We had the rejection here at the diagonal. I don't like trading on diagonals too much, but I'm noticing on a few of my charts, I have them on Bitcoin, and I guess they have been working. So why not? And as it stands, yep. Weekly, we're rejecting where it needs to. In my opinion, I do think that there is a easy short opportunity, especially on the daily, which I'll talk about after this. But as it stands on this chart, it's very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. To me, the weekly looks like in a downtrend. We have to respect the trend now. What was major support is now major resistance. It's basically at the beginnings of it. So this could be a major opportunity for shorting that many aren't talking about. As it stands too, we have a major inefficiency here. Inefficiency is essentially this breakout level to up only. Doesn't really give any retests or back tests, leaving lots of liquidity and just inefficiencies down below that make it easier for price to come. And a 29% move as it stands is still a major move. And we really can't disregard that, especially with BBWP now taking off on the weekly. And the pivot, I believe the momentum pivot is now at 64,000, which has implications for it statistically being down. We can go and easily backtest this on the weekly. Anytime we've had the expansion after leaving the blue, turning cyan to green, it's been big moves. You can see the last time we had a major one was in January of 2024. So implications for me that a massive move is coming. I am expecting a big move down this week. And the daily solidifies that for me. Essentially after we lost this EMA 100, which has been a focal point for me on this chart for a while now. We came down, we've basically retested it. We've had chop, which makes sense. But as it stands, we're under every major moving average here. And, now we're the daily finally. Yes, it had a squeeze up. Doesn't surprise me. But as it stands, it's basically the same setup I saw on Friday when I went short right here, which was a bearish retest. The only issue is I got stopped out on that short, for minimal amounts of a percentage loss because I shorted the extremity here. But with weekend, there's all this chop here. So I didn't want to hold a short into the weekend if it did break that 4-hour high I mentioned. So I'm looking now to reshort this bearish retest. That's what I have to look at it as.
Yes, sir.
And until proven otherwise. And so, that's essentially what I see on Bitcoin. I do think that this week we're going to get decision, and it's something to watch very closely.
And I'll say this real quick before I jump into translating what you just said. Bad news is bad news. And when I wonder what's going to happen when if they do revise the jobs 1 million down. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Where the fuck does that put us, right?
And where does that put, does that change something with the Fed? How are they going to gauge that as well? Because markets like to be, even though, the Fed hasn't been, they've been okay. But, they don't like, the market hates surprises more than anything. And there's a lot of uncertainty with this week. So it makes sense to me why the charts look so terrible. Are we going to get that front run sell off? People expect the worst, but we get better than expected. Or are we going to range until maybe the revision and on Friday, the event, and then we're going to get the decision maybe on the weekend price decision. But as it stands, we dumped from here today. It wouldn't surprise me. And to me, I have to look at it like a bearish retest on the daily with statistics pointed down. So,
agreed. All righty. Thank you so much, sir. Ok, ahí les va. Básicamente estamos viendo Bitcoin en la semanal en este momento y podemos ver básicamente cosas sencillas. Esto es todo lo que nos estaba contando el buen Alex, pero yo creo que todos podemos verlo bastante sencillo por acá. Denme un segundito. ¿Qué estamos viendo? Exactamente para toda la gente que tal vez está empezando, tenemos altos más bajos, ¿no? Aquí, y tienes bajos más bajos. Esto nos pone lo que parece ser una tendencia bajista, mínimo a este momento, y en la semanal es como pinta esto, y eso no es bueno, eso obviamente no es bueno. Estamos bajo el 9, el promedio semanal el promedio de las 9, que es 9 semanas, y el promedio de las 21, y estamos viendo cómo están a punto de cruzar acá a la baja. Esto no es un cruce plateado, obviamente, pero nos empieza a indicar la debilidad de Bitcoin y podemos ver cómo intenta retomarlo y no puede. Déjenme, les pongo el EMA 100 y el SMA 200 para que también lo puedan ver en la semanal. Aquí lo que cree Alex y lo que está diciendo es, muy probablemente por la debilidad de Bitcoin y porque estamos perdiendo esto, pueden ver cómo no le gusta al precio perder el 9, sobre todo en la semanal. Lo retomamos desde aquí abajo y estás hablando de un zampompazo de 160% o más de 160%. Eso es lo que vimos. Pero también cuando lo pierde, que es como este tipo de escenario, puedes ver qué es lo que pasa, ¿no? Y solamente estoy hablando del 9, olvídate de los demás. El 9, cuando lo perdió la última vez, bajamos 72%. Un bajón de 72% de donde perdimos el 9 originalmente acá. Pongámoslo acá para que no sea tan extraño. Nos llevaría más o menos a los $20,000, que todo el mundo va a decir, no, es imposible. Y ahorita también, por alguna razón, todo el mundo dice que es imposible que bajemos de los altos de los ETFs, ¿no? Que es literalmente esto cuando salieron los ETFs. Y la gente dice que eso nunca lo vamos a perder nunca más, ¿no? Personalmente no entiendo el por qué dicen eso, pero es como ellos lo ven. Entonces, lo que creemos, o bueno, más bien lo que cree Alex, es que esto va probablemente a intentar retomar la 21 y el 9 y después se va a ir agresivamente a la baja. Esta semana tenemos el viernes declaraciones de Jerome Powell y también tenemos algo muy importante para toda la gente que no sepa, y rápidamente voy a hacer este paréntesis con mi jeta tan horrenda. Lo que mucha gente no sabe es que el miércoles los que reportan los trabajos van a reducir, van a echarse para atrás los estimados que habían dado para un año y van a quitar 1 millón de trabajos que habían agregado porque son, como siempre, las revisiones a la baja, ¿no? Pero esto es 1 millón de trabajos. Y no sabemos qué tipo de respuesta vaya a tener un mercado que ya las malas noticias son malas noticias, las buenas noticias son buenas noticias. Cuando escuchas que pues sí, nos faltaron 1 millón de trabajos, pero con eso nos habían vendido que todo bien, entonces no tengo absolutamente ni idea. En fin, regresamos a la tabla. Ahora les voy a poner la diaria porque la diaria también nos pinta una muy buena fotografía. Hemos perdido el SMA 200, que es el morado. Hemos perdido el 100, que es el EMA 100, que es el rojo. Podemos ver cómo perdimos el 21 y cómo venimos y nos rechazó el 9, que es el azul. Lo pueden ver aquí y estamos para abajo. Ha sido uno tras otro, tras otro, tras otro estos rechazos. Y aquí es muy importante el promedio del 100. El promedio del 100, como pueden ver, que es la línea roja, apenas la venimos a testear una vez, 2 veces, ¡pum! Se perdió acá, venimos, hicimos el fake out a la alza y luego vienes para abajo. Si pierdes el 100, normalmente es el principio y lo que marca un buen mercado bajista, de nuevo un 70% para abajo, aunque sí, aquí también lo perdiste y solamente fue temporal, que fue entre el primer máximo del 2021 y el segundo máximo del 2021, pero eso fue una caída de 43%. Si lo quieres ver así, con el primer bajón, si lo ponemos acá, el primer bajón a 43% nos llevaría, a 42% nos llevaría justamente esta zona de los 37,900, que es bastante interesante porque hay bastante confluencia cuando lo estás viendo en la semanal con estos promedios, porque cuando lo pongo en la semanal con estos promedios, puedes darte cuenta que justamente aquí los 38 es donde está el SMA 200 y el EMA 100 en los 45,100, lo que nos sigue dando probablemente una probabilidad más alta de que vamos a seguir bajando. Esto es de acuerdo al análisis de Alex. Yo también estoy de acuerdo, pero vamos a ver cómo se comporta el precio. Algo que también dijo Alex es, los voy a llevar a la dominancia de Tether. La dominancia de Tether, que de nuevo es como si fuera el dólar básicamente, saben perfectamente que está en una tendencia alcista, lo tengo en la semanal en este momento, acaba de retomar el 21, el 9, el 200 y está cazando el 100. En este momento, si logra tomar esto y Tether logra hacer lo que literalmente estábamos viendo, que es un alto más alto acá, bajos más altos, esto subiendo obviamente tiene consecuencias negativas para Bitcoin porque es como el dólar subiendo en contra de todo lo demás. Cuando el dólar sube, todo lo demás cae. Cuando el dólar cae, todo lo demás sube. Entonces, aquí estamos en un momento bastante importante en nuestra opinión. ¿Por qué? Porque si esto no se detiene aquí en los 5.91, que es un punto importante de resistencia, se va para arriba, rompe los 6.78, está en una clara tendencia alcista y probablemente su próximo objetivo sea el 8%, y eso sabemos que son cosas bastante malas, ¿no? Eso quiere decir que tendría un gran bajón. Entonces, eso es la semanal, lo estamos viendo en la diaria también, cómo está haciendo esta formación alcista y cómo sigue y va con fuerza y honestamente está consolidando bastante bien encima del 9, lo que todavía nos dice que hay aún más fuerza en el movimiento hacia arriba de la dominancia de Tether. Y también, esta es una personal, me encanta ver este gráfico, el Nasdaq contra Bitcoin, interesante, retomando también el 200, uf y recontra uf. El precio de Bitcoin en este momento, para toda la gente preguntándose, está en 58,841 y está promediando bastante culerón, sobre todo cuando lo ves en la semanal, lo demuestra mejor. Pero porque estamos aquí haciendo estas velas que son dojis, que es como indecisión, 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 y se vuelven más chicas, la volatilidad más chica, y esto normalmente pasa antes de un movimiento fuerte, y probable el movimiento fuerte lo vayamos a ver a la baja, pero no sin un fake out aquí a la alza, antes como retestear. Hay gran oportunidad de short en esta jugada para todo el mundo. Y antes de acabar, el único hopium acá es que honestamente en la mensual no hemos perdido el 9, rebotamos en el 9 que está aquí en los 56,955 y estamos por encima y no hemos perdido ninguno de estos. Si en la mensual pierdes la 9, ahí es donde literalmente se acaba esto, porque vean cuánto lo intentó perder acá en la primera bajada de mayo del 2021. Luego lo perdió momentáneamente, pero la siguiente vela mensual fue subidón, y luego el bajadón, y aquí lo perdiste. Aquí una vez que lo perdiste, tuviste esa caída grande. Así que importante poder mantener el 9 si es que necesitan un poco de hopium ustedes. Pero hablando de hopium, les voy a traer al mero, al vendedor de hopium favorito de todo el mundo, Farhan. I'm talking about hopium, and that you're about to fucking sling it. Are you
I'm
going to
gonna
sling
try
some
to.
hopium?
I'm gonna try to find as much as we want to find, or as much as I can try to find. But the supplier has been arrested, so
Ah,
I'm working with lower end suppliers right now.
Wow.
The big one is they're trying to get the big one to flip on his boss. And you know how it works. If he snitches out, then everybody goes down.
it's over.
Everybody. Let's bring it. We're ready.
I'm gonna start with Dixie at first, and I'm gonna show why I think Dixie is in a steady downtrend, and I think it's gonna keep going down. Because if you look at the on the HBDR chart, the historical price delta range, we ended up making a high. We made a little bit of a low. We made a lower high. At this point, we were trying to make it back to the blue zone, and we eventually made it to the blue zone. We got into there, and now we're at a rejection of the median. Whenever we rejected the median, and we have to target by 61.8% chance this bottom of the blue zone. And right now, that level is at 98.50. Also, we look at our momentum indicators. The jewel is giving us an almost perfect sell signal. The all we need now is for the yellow to cross above the pink, while this is still pointed down, and this is going to give us our picture perfect sell signal on the jewel. Let's see if we can find the last time we got one of those. This is not even close. Basically, somewhere around here. And you see this move we got whenever we had that same setup on the jewel. This was the absolute top of the dollar in 2020 in 2002. We ended up going from there all the way down to 70 from a little over 118.5, which is even higher than the highs that we made in 2022. And if you switch down to the monthly, you'll see our momentum indicator is pointed freshly towards the downside, and you see the jewel is about to give us a sell signal. So it's on a neutral signal, but it has not flipped to a sell signal yet. To confirm that sell signal, we would have to close below this median, and the median currently is at 103.39. As long as we close the month below the median, that sell signal will confirm, and our minimum target will be this bottom of this blue zone right here at 100.397, but it's most likely not going to stop there, and it's going to end up going down to the 50%, which right now is at 98.7, which that same number keeps coming back up. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly, we're getting momentum starting to point back up, but it's not towards the positive territory yet. It's still within the bearish control zone. So as long as it's below this area, the bears are still within control. And now you look at the jewel. The jewel is giving us what I was showing you before on the monthly, that perfect sell signal where the pink crosses below the yellow and the dark blue is below everything else. And the DMI is also flipped red too, which shows the money moving out of the dollar and into other assets. And we add onto that the daily. The daily is giving us a fresh flip back into the negative momentum zone. The volatility is pointing up to support it, and we're getting the jewel giving us another fresh sell signal on there. So now let's go to Bitcoin.
So we have one a perfect sell, almost a perfect sell signal on the weekly and also on the daily on the DXY.
Yeah.
And it's kind of making lower highs, and it's about to break the uptrend on the monthly. Yeah.
As long as Bitcoin is below the 5 EMA on the monthly, which is currently at right about $60,871, I would have to say that we are technically still bearish, because whenever Bitcoin has been under the 5 EMA and it's closed below it, that has marked either a very significant correction or the next bear market. We still have about 12 days to go to reclaim that 5 EMA, but while we're below it, we still have to assume that it is bearish, and pressure is onto the downside. We look at the 3-month right now. On the quarterly, you're seeing it bounce exactly where you need it to, which is at the 5 EMA, and that one right now is at 53,493. So mainly the only hopium that you could find right now is that the 3-month is still bouncing over here, but this is not that strong as long as the monthly is below the 5 EMA. You switch down to the weekly. Right now, the weekly ended up making itself back into the blue zone. It made 2 closes in there, but we were getting a rejection from the median. So as long as we have a rejection from the median, we have to target this bottom of the blue zone, like on Dixie, which right now lines up with this 55 EMA at 52,313. The invalidation for this is if we can close a weekly above that median at 59,900. And we get a close above that, then all bets are off, and we have to retarget these highs over here at the very least, which is currently at $72,000. But that's just a pipe dream as long as we are below this median at 59,900. We look at our jewel, it's starting to flip to a neutral signal, but we have not confirmed the sell signal yet. The way to confirm that sell signal is if we end up closing below this this candle's open, which was at 58,742. If we close below there, it's going to end up confirming, and it's going to be a sell signal. On the opposite hand, we look at our momentum indicators. Our HPDR momentum is starting to flip back up, and our volatility is flipping back down, which gives us a target of the median. Right now, we have yet to touch the median on this month, but it'll give us a statistical target of that median at 59,932. I don't know if it breaks it or not, but at the very least, we would have to target it for that that retest based off of those indicators. We look at the 2-day right now. The 2-day is what I've been looking at for a little bit. The 2-day ended up closing within the green zone, and then we sharply the blue zone, and then we sharply rejected it, and then we went back into the blue zone. As long as this closes like this within 9 hours and 39 minutes, we have to target the median, which is right now at 55,167. So most signs are giving us a bearish sign. We look at the jewel right now. The 2-day jewel has given us a fresh buy signal, which will confirm as long as we are above this previous candle's close, which is at 57,118. As long as we're above there, that'll still confirm as a buy signal. If we lose that, it'll switch back to neutral and then eventually back to sell. You can go to the daily. The daily right now, after it reclaimed it, it's trying to find support over here at the bottom of the blue zone. If it can find support over there, it's going to the jewel is going to start flipping back from the sell signal right here to a neutral signal, and then eventually, if it gets another close over there, it'll flip to a buy signal. Our momentum indicators are slightly negative right now. They're about to break into the bearish control zone, but they have not yet. So it's telling us that you have to be on the side of bearish with caution, looking for this area to reject or hold. If it rejects, the bearish thesis will play out, and we're going to get a sharp drop down to this 61.8% level, which is that right around $55,000, which is that number we were looking at before. If we go to the 12-hour, the 12-hour is giving us a rejection of not only our 9 EMA and the 5 EMA, but the rejection of the median as well. And that same theory plays out where if this median is rejected, you have to target this bottom zone right here, which is currently at $57,500. Let's switch to our divergences, and then I'll switch from there. Another thing that we have to look at is the divergences on tether dominance. This is the quarterly on tether dominance. There's still 1 month and 12 days to go before this confirms. But as of right now, it's working on a third drive of hidden bullish divergence. And if this were to confirm, every single time hidden bullish divergences confirmed on tether, it has marked the bear market on Bitcoin. As you see right here, April of 2019. And then
so it's about to confirm, you're saying?
Yeah, but we still have a month left.
Oh, okay. So it's a monthly. Okay.
This is a quarterly.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Like right here in January of 2021, we ended up marking a major low, and we had a huge run from there. Right now, we're marking our next one off the low of January of 2023. The only way to confirm this as a confirmed hidden bullish divergence is that we would have to close above this candle's high, which is right now at 5.41%. As long as we close the quarterly over that, that's going to confirm as a buy signal, and then we would have to more than likely say that crypto is in a bear market, and Tether is going to make a very big move from there. On the opposite hand, we look at the quarterly on the jewel, and we're getting a fresh sell signal. To flip this, we would have to confirm this hidden bullish divergence. If this confirms, then this sell signal will flip back into a neutral signal, and then from there it'll go back into a buy signal, and that'll support the moves to the upside that we were looking for. Let's look at
so Bitcoin. Still a close above 541. So you can, yeah.
Right now on the monthly on Bitcoin, we're still within the bullish control zone. The only hope for this to stay within the bullish control zone and not get kicked out is that we would have to see this number right here, which is at 60,467. We would have to close the month over 60,467, basically 60,500, and then this RSI would stay within the bullish control zone, and it would flip back up, and then we would target the top. But if you look at the Jewel, we're starting to get that same fresh sell signal on the monthly, which tells us that same thing, that we have to be looking cautiously towards the sides of being bearish. We look at the weekly RSI. The weekly is giving us a little bit of inverse head and shoulders on the RSI, but we're literally right at this neckline. If we break below this, the inverse head and shoulders is going to be negated, and we have to apply the same move to the downside, which would healthily bring us back within the bearish control zone. And the number to enter the bearish control zone right now is $48,000, which is that our previous low that we made before.
No, EMA 100.
Yeah. And we see our volatility indicator, which is heavily pointed to the upside, which is telling us volatility is expanding. And the move we're looking at right now is impulsive, and it's not a corrective move.
Oh boy.
See if you can find any other divergences. Nothing here, nothing there, nothing there. Yeah, so on the 12-hour, we've just confirmed some hidden bearish divergence on the 18th of August, which has still not yet played out yet. The way we know it's played out is once we make a local low, and this will give you one of these little triangles once we made a local low. And we have not done that yet. And we've confirmed it right there at right above the 21 EMA. So we have broken below the 9, and we've retested it, which would tell us that the easy move has played out, but it's not fully played out yet because there's no local low. So if we could get another easier target from there, we would be looking at right around this. First place would be this 50%. But since we've already tested it once and now it's weaker, we would have to look at this golden pocket right here, which is right around $54,400 to $54,000 is our next logical target based off of that hidden bearish divergence, which is currently confirmed.
Damn.
And that's basically what I got for Bitcoin.
So would you say, all in summary, kind of bearish on the monthly? Basically, we can't lose the 5 EMA at 60,800. We don't want to. We don't want to close there. We don't want to. Positive thing is on the quarterly, we are above the 5 EMA, right? Which is above, which is at 53,500. On the weekly, it's looking bad if we close below 59,900. And yeah, if you close below 58,742, then that activates on the weekly the sell signal on the Jewel. Yeah, I mean, it's fucked.
And also to give even some more sombering news, that the weekly momentum on Bitcoin will flip down if we don't close this week above $64,200. The monthly is already down below $71,000.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Holy shit.
So if bulls can push it up by like $14,000 by the end of the month, then
great.
To the moon, Bitcoin, $100,000, mortgage your house, sell everything you love, and buy the hardest asset on earth. But until then, we got to be looking towards the downside.
Holy balls. Let me share this with everyone, and then I'll tell you to get you going and get you started. How is BTC looking? That was the first question. And then ICP. Do you know what ICP is?
Internet computer.
Yes,
our
sir.
Favorite shitcoin.
All righty, let me translate what you just said. Ok, Farhan estaba viendo las tablas y un poco se ve de lo mismo. Estamos viendo el DXY, algo con lo que él empezó, que dijo, honestamente, esto se ve bastante bajista y estoy de acuerdo. Están viendo una tabla mensual del DXY, que es el índice del dólar. Pueden ver que el SMA, el EMA 100 está en el punto 98. Estamos haciendo un alto más alto. Tenemos este alto, pero este es un alto más bajo. Están siendo bajos más altos, pero esto tiene cara que quiere romper la tendencia, esta pequeña línea, esta pequeña diagonal a la baja. Si rompe la diagonal, ya perdiste el EMA 21, ya perdiste el 9. Tu siguiente objetivo está por acá en el, déjame ver, el 25. Ok, siguiente objetivo está en el 100, que es el 55. Y de ahí, acuérdate que si el 21 jala y va debajo del 55, tienes un cruce plateado a la baja. Pero falta bastante para esto. Más allá de esto, volteando a ver a Bitcoin, ¿qué es lo que estamos buscando? Básicamente en la semanal tenemos que cerrar arriba de 64,200, que es básicamente acá arriba. Si no podemos recuperar la zona de los 64,200 en la semanal, estamos fritos, señores. Fritos, fritos, fritos. Pero si lo hacemos, prepárense para vender su casa porque todo se va a ir a la luna. ¿Qué más? En la mensual, cuando volteamos a ver la mensual, el EMA5 está sentado justamente en los 60,800, no lo tengo aquí puesto, que está por acá más o menos, esta zona. Si no podemos cerrar esta vela mensual en esa zona de los 6,800, muy probablemente vayamos a ver más downside. Cuando volteamos a ver la de 3 meses, que es la de la trimestral, ¿no? Cuando volteamos a ver la trimestral, en la trimestral que estamos esperando, queremos poder no perder los 53,500. ¿Cuánto falta para el cierre de la trimestral? Faltan más o menos 1 mes y 12 días, así que hay bastante tiempo para esto, pero pueden ver cómo el EMA 9 empieza a acercarse a esa zona, y eso quiere decir que muy probablemente vayamos a tener un movimiento correctivo mínimo a la zona de los 53,500, que está más o menos por acá, por esta zona de acá. Regresando a la semanal, básicamente tenemos un estamos creando un sell signal en el Joule, que es el indicador este que usa Farhan. Si en verdad se activa esta, ¿cómo se llama? Para activar esta señal de venta, tienes que cerrar la semanal, que le falta literalmente 6 días y 10 horas, así que bastante, abajo de los 58,750, y estamos justamente abajo de ellos. O sea, en este momento tenemos que ganarle y cerrar la semana arriba de donde estamos en este momento. Sí. Y esto es algo que vimos. Bitcoin en la tabla de 12 horas, básicamente, que es esta, tiene una divergencia bajista que ya se activó y se activó en agosto, el 8 de agosto, y tiene un objetivo de $54,000 abajo de esta línea. Si llega a darse los 54,400, eso muy probablemente es el primer objetivo para seguir bajando aún más. Así que definitivamente bajista todo lo que estamos viendo. Estén al pendiente de esto y pues, all right, let's go. Hang on. All right, Alex is here. Let me remove this. And we're doing, I think, wait, what did I say we were doing? ICP, Farhan. His favorite.
ICP.
And then, hang on, we have ICP, and then afterwards, FND.
Do they want? So that's the crypto ICP.
Yeah.
Obviously. Okay. And then wait, what was the other chart we're doing?
FND.
Ah, okay, cool. Floor and Decor Holdings. Interesting.
The fuck is FND?
Interesting.
Let's get to it.
Wow. Here we go.
All right, ICP. Let's
Yeah,
zoom
that's a
out a
fun
little
one.
bit and see if it looks as bad as I think it does.
Let's see.
Good Lord. This thing has never seen an uptrend in its life.
Is anyone surprised by that?
No. This was going around TikTok. I remember it's gonna pump to 500. It's gonna pump to 500. I remember because my sister told me, she asked me if she should buy it. At that point, I really considered shorting this, but I never.
Boy, it got to at some point to $628.
Yeah.
The only real internet computer, and even that is a shit coin, is Ethereum.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you guys see what I'm looking at right here, right? Because this is pretty obvious. Let's turn this off.
Just lost everything.
Neckline just basically broke below it. Yeah, because this would have been the neckline. So we've already broke below it. Let's get a little bit of a measured move from there. $3.50.
I believe that. I actually believe that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But will also give us an even some more confluence. Let's see if this gives us the same number. It's a little bit higher at $4.34, but that's still a very significant drop from here. That would be to $4.34. A little bit around 38% of a drop from here. And then on top of that, I'm sorry, all I'm doing on this coin is giving hopium to the bears. There's not any hopium that I can give to the bulls. You see a fresh silver cross on the weekly. Fresh.
Oh, yeah.
That just happened. And not only that, but we could not even get a test of this 5 EMA. Usually whenever we get a silver cross, we look for a test of the 5 or the 9 EMA for your entries. And whenever you don't even get that test, that tells you that silver cross is even more powerful than the regular instances of the silver cross. Let's see if I can find the last time that we had a silver cross. Oh, we never even had one because there was not enough data. So we've never
not on the
had
weekly.
The last time we had a silver cross to the upside that was right here, and even that was not able to pull as much of an impressive move as you would expect as like on a shit coin on a weekly silver cross. It did 88%, which does seem like a lot, but you got to remember these shit coins on weekly silver crosses do several X's.
So it's weak.
Severely weak. We're looking at the momentum right now. Momentum is pointed to the upside, but all that's telling us is that that this is going to be a corrective move, that because we have this silver cross. So at the best case scenario, I could see us retesting this 5 or this 9 EMA, which I still think is kind of unlikely. If we get that, I would look for that as an entry on a short, and then the stop loss would be a weekly with a close over this blue 5 EMA. Right now, it's all looking bearish. We're getting our jewel that's about to flip from a buy signal to a neutral signal, right where it needs to, below every single moving average. The yellow is above the pink, which is and if this flips to a sell, then that'll give us the perfect jewel sell signal where the yellow is above the pink and the dark blue is below everything else, and it's going to break into the bearish control zone here on the jewel. We look at the daily momentum is freshly pointed towards the downside. The jewel is flipping into a neutral signal, about to flip to a sell signal. If we close below $7.15, that's going to confirm to a sell signal, and then we would have to target at least this zone right here, which is $6.70, more likely around that $6.50 level. Let's go down to the divergences, and we'll put it off from there, because if there's some significant bearish divergence on this move up, that'll tell us that we might not even get that retest.
I feel like, come on, just give it to them. Just give them that retest.
You ever seen that one meme that says there is no exit pump? You're going to get liquidated.
No, but it's so fucking true in this case.
No divergences here, not on the monthly. Is it because I'm looking at a chart with not enough data? How old is ICP? It's a lot older than 2021, so I'm looking at the wrong chart on this one.
Is it?
ICP, yeah, because it was run from 2017.
ICP USD is what I'm running.
I'll look at Bitstamp. No, not that one either.
Why are you?
Yeah, okay, this is the one. This is the one with the data. This one with the data. This is from 2021. I thought it was a 2017 coin. Oh, I guess.
No.
Nothing here. Although what we are getting on the monthly RSI is a nice little head and shoulders on the monthly RSI, and we're right there at the neckline. If we get any close below this moving average, right now that is at $7.28. This is going to confirm as a RSI head and shoulders, and we're going to go down to the bearish control zone, and that number right now is at where did we see this number before? $3.65.
Damn,
that's clean.
So if we do end up breaking below there and confirming that head and shoulders, we would have that same target of just around $4 to $3.50. See if on any other time frames on the 3 day we have some hidden bearish divergence right here, which still has not played out, and on the 3 day we also have that same head and shoulders, and we're getting close to the neckline. If that plays out, we would have to target this bottom of the bearish critical zone, and don't take this number with a grain of salt, because it's gonna go a lot higher from here. The only way that we hit this from here is if this coin just absolutely takes a massive red dildo in one single day of like 40 or 50%. Then we could say that we could possibly hit here. And that number currently is at $1.80. But everybody has to remember this is going to significantly rise. So it's most likely not going to hit that number. The number that I would look at would be the that $3.50 to $4 area. And some more sombering details is that we're working on a third drive of hidden bearish divergence on the RSI. And we just barely got out of the bearish control zone, and now we're about to get rejected from getting out of it and put in this third drive. The way to confirm this is that we would have to make a close below this this candle's close, which is at $7 and basically $7.19. We get any type of daily close below there. We've confirmed 3 drives of hidden bearish divergence, and we have a target back. Our first minimum target is going to be this bearish control zone, which is at $6.77. And our next target, and keep in mind these numbers will rise, and they're going to rise pretty significantly. Right now it's at $2.87. So in the next like week or two, while this divergence is playing out, what do you think it's going to go up to? Right around that $3.50 to $4 number.
It seems like, yeah, like a magnet right there.
Yeah, it seems like that is an absolute magnet for price action at the moment. See if we get a target from the daily. Nothing really. I wouldn't say that we would break straight through that $3.50 area. But if we do, and if I'm wrong and the bears do take full control, then that area right now is around $2.70. But it looks all around, it looks absolutely terrible. It looks like something you would want to short on every single spike up.
Yep. All righty. Thank you so much. And before we go, 1 second. Para an AMD since
Advanced Micro Devices.
Yes, sir. Okay. Aquí tenemos ICP, damas y caballeros, ICP. Quiero ponerles una tabla bastante grande. Quiero que vean esto. El precio a cierto punto llegó a $630, que fue básicamente uno de los primeros errores que cometí en cripto, porque creí que un amigo me recomendó ICP. Ahora, después de años, me doy cuenta que no era ICP lo que estaba recomendando, pero en fin. Errores se cometen y ni modo. Aquí es donde está parado el precio en este momento y pueden ver que está debajo de todos mis promedios, que es justamente lo que está hablando Farhan en este momento. Y aquí tenemos un hombro, cabeza, hombro que ya se rompió a la baja. Y el objetivo de esto es demasiado bajo, es por ahí de los $3.50. Estamos en la tabla semanal. En la semanal tenemos el momentum que va para arriba, lo que nos está indicando que hay un movimiento de correctivo, lo que probablemente nos lleve un poco por ahí de los 765, pero en la diaria, si perdemos los 715 y estamos ya perdiendo los 715, estamos en 7012, si tenemos un cierre en en la diaria, un segundito, déjenme les enseño la diaria. Si en la diaria, que ahorita estamos en 7, es que pueden ver que estamos siendo rechazados por el IMI 9, que es el promedio de los 9. Si somos rechazados de aquí y cerramos abajo de los 715, hay 3 diferentes drives de hidden bearish divergence. Y eso, digo, de 3 divergencias bajistas. Y si se llega a dar eso, el objetivo de esto sería más o menos entre $3.50 y $4. Eso más o menos te pone en 3.50. Segundo, podemos hacerlo más chiquito. 3.50. Un caidón de casi 50%. En lo que se refiere a también el RSI está haciendo un head and shoulders bastante potente, y si se rompe esto, que es cerrando abajo de los 7.28, que de nuevo estamos en 7.10, probablemente nos lleve ese objetivo de entre $3.50 y $4. ICP se ve del culo. Es básicamente eso lo que quería comentarles, así que mucha suerte a todos los holders de ICP, que no puedo creer que todavía existan. Pero bueno, aquí estamos. ¿Qué le vamos a hacer? All righty, now we're going to FND. FND. I'm just trying to find this here. Let's go into FND right there. Let's do it.
Nice. So yeah, FND's it's at an interesting point right now in the chart. I put this bullish fib retracement zone on the daily here. And you can see we're basically at a point of a massive breakout.
Yeah.
The nice point about this is it makes this trade super easy because we have the daily EMA 100 directly perfectly lined up with the golden pocket on this retracement zone, telling me that there's a big move brewing. So as it stands, right, if we can break, we'll call it 107 on a daily close and hold, we have then a measured move to $121.83. And I have resistance here at $116.31, which makes sense. It's a big point where FNDs like to reject that $16.30 level. And you visually can just see that we had the rejection point here, and here. Something to consider if you're watching this chart. The golden pocket's nice because this is where you get big moves from. So is it a coincidence that we have this EMA 100 perfectly right where the golden pocket, golden zone is? I don't think so. And you can just backtest it yourself on this chart. When price can reclaim this level on a daily, it's a great sign. It's been choppy in this zone here. But when we're relating to here back on this time, and let me take this retracement zone off now. If we're relating it back to when it first did right here, it likes to hold it in raging bull markets. So, I am unsure what, floor and decor, they're into housing, retail. I'm unsure what that'll mean in the future for them. But as it stands, the chart looks good. And if the daily can reclaim this and specifically hold it, I think it gives more weight to at least an intermediate move up to the upside. And if we look at the Bollinger Bands here, they're already expanding up. So it's giving us more confluence that the fib retracement, the golden pocket zone, and also the daily EMA 100. This is a big area for FND. We see BBWP. Not it's approaching extremes, but still can go way higher. I mean, it's still at the point where it's going up, so we know volatility is expanding, but easily can still keep going up. Let me go here. And now I want to see if we're getting any kind of crosses. It's a good indication essentially if we are. And something I like about this right now on the daily specifically is just watching this 9 here cross above the 21. Oftentimes it's like I've been mentioning, it can be a predecessor to a silver cross on the daily. So the strength is there for bulls. And we can see this is fresh here. We have the 9 going over the 21, and that's bullish. I'm interested to see where that 55 is. And you can see here, it wouldn't take much for bulls to cross the 21 over the 55, giving us a silver cross. It's something to watch, especially if we do break out and specifically hold this 117 level. I think then that can give us more legs to definitely go up. And if the silver cross happens, that's an easy trade setup. You just long the retest of the 9. But one thing after the next, and that's why I mentioned, before the silver cross, you will get, you'll get the 9 crossing above the 21. So something to watch closely with this. Especially with today's closure. This has been a big spot for, FND. Now, rejected it 2 days in a row. Will today be the third one? I'm unsure. As it stands, I would consider momentum with bulls, and especially the way BBWP and the daily Bollinger Bands are looking. I think this is more of a chance to keep sustaining its move up. But, the daily close will really determine a lot, in my opinion. Especially with the zone we're at now. Now, if I go to a higher time frame for people who are, viewing this more in a macro than like a trading perspective, we're basically at a big level here on FND. Any and all times the monthly has reclaimed the 5. It has slowly just moved up in price. So is that the same thing we're seeing now, potentially with this month? Something to consider. I mean, that's an insane hammerhead we have on the monthly, along with a steady uptrend after this move down. You know, it's basically just been in a nice uptrend on the monthly. This is looking more like the higher low. And that's why a big point when I do analysis is I like drawing diagonals simply to just represent that. You know, it makes it easier. We don't want the last basically low to get invalidated by the next one. And you can see we've just been basically forming higher lows on the monthly, which is strong. It solidifies it. You know, if the monthly is in a potential uptrend, then what we'd expect is for this 136 10-cent level to get broken. You know, if that gets broken, then we will definitely probably test these highs here at $146. But you know, one thing after the next. You know, if the monthly is looking like it's an uptrend, we can go then to the weekly and see, you know, how that's looking. You know, and the weekly again is looking great. It's solidifying that for me. You know, after we made this higher low here, because I'm looking at this low as the last one. You know, we went up, we came down, and then we broke this high here. You know, and essentially rejected, which makes sense, but we should just be on higher low watch, which came in almost right around the meme support line. You know, now well above the 21, the 9, and the 100, EMA 100 on the weekly. So, you know, definitely the momentum is with the bulls on this one. And as it stands, if we get like some, you know, especially a weekly closure above the level I was talking about, you know, right at that 107 level, I do think that we will have an easy shot to go to this $116 level with ease. And you know, as it stands, BBWP has been corrected, which is telling me, you know, even though price has been going up, the range has caused this slightly to go more to the corrective stance where it can start, you know, getting more momentum once it hits this like 50% range. So, you know, overall, very strong chart. This is a good way to start, you know, the morning for me because this is strong. This looks good. And the setups are easy on this. It's really simple when I'm looking at it because your focus should just be this daily. You know, when often we're at a pivotal point on the daily, and then you know, if you use a fib retracement, we're at the golden pocket right here. It can make it easy because you have an easy invalidation if you use a closing basis essentially to go long and trade this. So, you know, the trend is your friend. We should be on basically a monthly higher high watch, in my opinion, and especially this monthly here is looking insane. So that's a very strong candle, while also reclaiming major levels.
Unless you get rejected.
That's very true. And, you know, 11 days is a very long time. So, you know, something to watch closely. Great chart, though. Good weekly as well. 4 days is still a long time. And, you know, it still is in this EMA range here. You know, it did reclaim the 9 on the weekly. That's a first step. It's a great sign. But we want follow through on this weekly, reclaiming the 21. Very much like here. Reclaim the 9. You know, closed under the 21 here. Next week, we were able to close above the 21, leading to the expansion up. You know, so something to watch here. It's right at that point where, you know, in the next week, this is going to have you're going to have a lot more data. And more data is constituted by more closures, higher time frame closures. And the more data you have, essentially, the more you can work with. Now, let me see here. You know, so yeah, I'm not seeing any silver crosses. The only thing I'm seeing is on the weekly. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything really else other than just what we mentioned on the daily in regards to a fresh cross here. You know, something to watch. You know, when the 9 is on 21, it solidifies the strength, and you know, it's basically that shouldn't be a surprise with the analysis I gave. So strong chart. Wait for the daily. Reclaims the EMA 100 on the daily. Watch for the back test. Let it prove to you that it's flipped that level into support. And then we have to look once it does do that. We have to look at that $116 level, $116.50 level, being a major point. You know, if pricing get back above there, I think we have a great chance of going a lot higher.
Yeah, it does feel like the price wants to go there no matter what. So let's lots of confluence in that area of the 115. And if you watch, I'll just also do from everything that you showed. I'm just going to add a parallel channel too that shows that exactly there. That's the median of the channel, and that's where price is heading. So
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And Farhan, no. Farhan's looking already at, what are you looking at? AMC?
AMD.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was AMC, no?
I thought you said AMD. My
All
bad.
right, let's do AMD, whatever. Why not? And I would say NXE for you, Alex.
Cool.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Aquí tenemos el gráfico de FND. FND que honestamente no sé qué sea Floor and Decor Holdings. Me imagino que simplemente es algo para remodelar casas. Podemos ver, esta es la tabla mensual que estamos viendo. Hemos estado arriba del IMA9, lo perdimos por acá. Vamos subiendo, lo reganamos y ahorita justamente estamos peleando con él en este momento. Si pongo y creo un canal paralelo de este bajo usando estos puntos hasta acá, espérame, ¿dónde es? Hasta acá. ¿Era este lo que quería usar o no? Sí, acá. Pueden darse cuenta que hay bastante convergencia en esta zona de los 115, sobre todo cuando lo volteas a ver en la semanal o en la diaria. Vean, justamente aquí tenemos la tabla semanal. Podemos ver perfectamente cómo ha respetado este canal divinamente y les voy a poner los demás, moving averages para que puedan darse una idea de lo fuerte que viene el precio. Venimos en una tendencia alcista. Estamos creando bajos más altos, tienes un alto más alto. Estos podrían ser tus primeros altos más bajos, pero aguantaste aquí abajo un bajo más alto, por lo que tu siguiente movimiento sería probablemente hacia arriba. Una vez más, estás viendo esta línea por acá de los 115, 116 dólares, que es donde el precio tiene cara de que se quiere ir. Déjenme rápidamente ajusto esto y pueden darse cuenta aún más. En la diaria, la fuerza que lleva esto, el IMA9 ganándole al 21, eso es lo que valida un poco más la fuerza que lleva el movimiento, pero algo que dijo y que nos enseñó Alex acá, sacas tu hermoso Fibonacci, lo pones de aquí arriba para aquí abajo, justamente acá, y te puedes dar cuenta que el precio está entrando en justamente la zona del 382, el famosísimo bolsillo dorado. Entonces, ¿qué es básicamente lo único que estamos esperando? Que el precio aguante aquí, que podamos cerrar arriba de los 107, sobre todo la semanal, ¿no? La diaria, pues sí, lo puedes cerrar, pero para tener una buena confirmación, la semanal que cierre arriba de esto, y tu siguiente objetivo muy probablemente sea por acá, esta zona de los 115. Que es donde encontramos 116, donde encontramos mucha confluencia en el precio de FND. Entonces, bastante buena la gráfica, honestamente, se aprecia. Vean, o sea, esta tendencia alcista que lleva desde cuándo, carnal. ¿Desde cuándo? Hasta acá. Ahí lo tienen. Para que vean, divino. Divino, y aquí está, es esta zona en el canal donde los básicamente vamos a ver esto tomar vida una vez que lo haga. All righty, boys. That's that. What are we going with? Are you muted, Farhan?
Yeah,
I think
AMD.
so.
Already got it pulled up, and I got my meme lines in and everything.
Ooh.
All right. So we tapped this bottom of this meme line right here. We reclaimed this this middle zone. And now we're struggling to close above this 9 EMA. We're still currently above it, and we're above the 50% zone. What we ideally want to see, and what's perfect to me, picture perfect, is that this bottom is a blue zone, lines right up with this meme line right here. If we do get a close above this area right here, we would have to then statistically target this median, which right now is at $175. But until then, we can't target that until it closes above it. If it rejects this blue zone, that's going to be our next lower high, and we would have to target back to the bottom of this blue zone right here. I mean, this blue meme line. At that point, it's maybe we're going to get a little bit of a bounce, go back up, retest this 100 EMA, and then at that point, I would say that we're going to easily go towards this 200 SMA, which is right now at $109.16. Our momentum indicators are about to start flipping down. Volatility is starting to flip up to support that. while the jewel is giving us a sell signal below the pink, and the pink is below the yellow as well. So this is not exactly the perfect sell signal because they're not all bunched together. What you want to see is like right here. This would be the picture perfect sell signal because the moving averages are close together while it drops below both of them. So this is a bad signal, but it's not as bad as one of these could be. Where if you look right over here, when it happened, price went down from about 36% before it ended up stabilizing and made another lower high from there. And then from here, where we did not have the picture perfect sell signal, we still lost 34%. So I guess this thing doesn't even care. All it sees is a sell signal, and they're like, all right, we're dropping 30%. But look at the monthly. The monthly is giving us more of a hopium signal. You know me trying to find some hopium somewhere.
Let's do it.
The monthly is giving us our hopium signal that we're bouncing above the 50%. We're bouncing at the 21 EMA, and now we're back within the blue zone. If we do get a monthly close like this in the next 11 days, 6 hours, we'd have to target this median, which right now is at $179.63. At that point, we would still technically be bearish as long as we're below that. If we get a close above this, then this bearish momentum will be gone, and the bulls will be back in full control. We have a target at the very least this around $231 area. But this is the only hopium I can really find that we're still within this blue zone, and that we're closing as not closing, but we're as a green hammerhead candle. Let me draw a fib and see if a bearish fib and see where we would be at right now. I'll draw it from this one. Yes, right now we're literally right at this 50% zone. If we close above the 50% zone based off of GAN rules, this would be our area for our next major low, and we'd have to target the highs from there. It would not. I don't have one drawn in. Let me put it in. 1.618. It's not populating. Oh, it's way too high. That's why it's not populating. So you just ignore this number right now. Sometimes these gives you very stupid numbers, which don't give you any type of confluence at all. So this is not giving us any help. Right now, we're looking for this zone to hold. As long as that holds, we have to target this median. But on the opposite hand, after the next monthly close, as long as we're below this median, it's going to move down. And very likely where it's going to move down to is whenever you see this type of consolidation right here, where we get a move up, we get a little bit of a move down, then we get a breakdown. This area is usually where the median likes to go to, which lines up with this yellow line as well. Then we'd have to close above that to become bullish again. It may seem like that would be easier because price would be lower, but on the sombering details is that the momentum is going to shift down further, so bears are going to be stronger in control. So it's going to be that much harder for bulls to push their price back up there. On the jewel right now, we're getting not a fresh sell signal, we're getting a confirmed sell signal, and we're below the pink and the yellow. But the pink is still above the yellow, so it's not too bad. But as we've seen before, like it doesn't really care. Whenever it gets a sell signal,
35% down, baby.
It always likes to do 30%. I don't know what it is about AMD and it's 30%. We look at
loves it.
Yeah, it loves that 30% number. We look at the daily. Daily right now, momentum is topping out at the extremes in the bullish control zone. So this tells us it's going to take that much more effort for the bulls to keep the price up from here, and it's going to be much easier for the bears to turn it down. We're looking at the jewel. We were getting a buy signal. The yellow is crossing above the pink is crossing above the yellow, and DMI is first starting to flip green. So this is the first sign of cash flow starting to become positive into AMD on the daily ever since 18th of June 2024, where we finally flipped green after a good amount of red, and we flipped green from there. What did the price do? Let's get an idea. Price went from around $115 all the way up to around 185, I believe the number is. But 185 to 187. So we do get this confirmed, and we end up getting a close above on the daily. See if we get a number. Let's do a bearish retracement on the daily. Take it to the confirmed close. Yeah, because it's another one of those targets that I would not feel comfortable with. The only way that I would feel comfortable with this $208 target is that we would have to come up here above this gap, fill this gap, not reject, and then I would want to see a close above $180. At that point, I would say we'll go to $200. But until then, I would say you should probably ignore these fibs and go based off of our momentum indicators, which are still telling us that in the long term it's bearish. Short term is kind of bullish, but based off what the long term indicators are telling us, that we should be looking for a corrective move and a lower high from there, and not an actual expansive move. Let's look at our divergences. Traditional stocks love to work by divergences because the main things the boomers use are EMAs and the RSI.
Fucking boomers.
The guys who laugh all the way to the bank while their traditional markets are going up and our cryptos are going sideways and down.
That's right. That's motherfucking right.
Right here on the monthly, we've broken out of the bullish control zone on the RSI. We've retested it. We've rejected it. We have not currently made it a local low yet. Once we make that local low, that's going to confirm as not only breaking out of the bearish control zone, but tell me if you guys see this here. Shoulder, head, shoulder,
goddamn
neckline. Break below that area, almost certainly we're going to come down to this bearish control zone. You guys got to keep this number with a grain of salt right now because this is going to go a lot higher. But that number for the bearish control zone right now is currently at $126. I would say that number is very likely going to go up, and it's probably going to be somewhere around these highs over here, which is $135. So it's not that much up, but it will naturally move up a little bit. So if that does confirm and we break below this this candle low right here, which is at 130, it gives us the same exact number, so it doesn't really give you anything of value. That if you break below 135, you would have to target 135. So it doesn't really tell you anything. What that does tell you though is that it brings this number into more validity, this 126. Because if you were to break below this, then you would clearly have a target lower than that. But I don't have any EMAs for that right now because I only used the 9, the 21, the 55, and the 200. So I couldn't give you a target based off of the EMAs. Let me switch to a lower time frame and see if I can get another target from there. I'm struggling to find an actual good target. I'll go from this one. Yeah, I'm getting $81, which I don't know if that seems reasonable or not based off of the drop that it usually does, about 30%. Let's do the number from 30%. If we were to end up dropping 30% from here, like it usually does, that brings us right around to $104. How many times have we tested this $100 range on AMD? So many times. $100 is usually the psychological level, and if it breaks anywhere below $100, we would get a massive dump. And then this number would slightly go up, probably somewhere around here, and that would give us around that $93 to low $90 area. Right now, we don't have any divergences yet. We not here. 5 day no divergences, 2 day no divergences, 1 day no divergences. Nah, nothing from this one. So I got to look at my momentum chart. It's very
just making lower heights and lower lows.
Yeah. What I was looking for was some bearish divergence to confirm it for us.
You're looking at Bitcoin.
I switched the momentum chart and it switched back to Bitcoin. All right, so right here we're on. Now I see it. Now I perfectly see it. We have hidden bearish divergence right here, where we made higher highs, where the RSI, the stochastic momentum
did not.
Yeah. So now we have bearish divergence over here. To confirm it, we would have to close the monthly below 199.51. We confirmed that. We have confirmed bearish divergence on the monthly, and that would bring us back to our lower 120s to $100 area. I don't think that area will hold, and I think we will almost certainly go down to the low 90s, maybe higher 80s. Most likely the $90 area. But if we do end up going, because this is a monthly, this is a traditional stock, so it goes slow. But if it does happen to move fast, if the NASDAQ rolls over, then I could really see us hitting those $80 numbers. And if AMD is hitting those $80 numbers, what is the rest of the tech sector doing? Because AMD is a major semiconductor manufacturer.
Yep.
So it just spells it just spells bad signs for the rest of the tech sector. Wherever you see AMD or Nvidia, one of these stocks performing like this, where it's putting in significant bearish divergence on significantly higher highs.
Well, Nvidia is gonna report results very soon, no?
Oh, and that would probably be our catalyst, because if
Yeah.
Nvidia puts out a bad number, AMD is almost certainly going to dump with it.
I feel like Nvidia has to just do their job and just do well by them. So
Jensen has to save the market.
it's all in his hands. All in his hands. Okay, Alex, you're gonna go. What do you got? NXC? Yeah, right. I mean, I'm hang on. You're muted, but I got you. I heard
NXT.
you. And then Farhan, you mind doing AMC? Because Heather did ask for AMC. She wants some hopium. I know you love the AMC chart, so here we go. Ok, aquí estamos viendo AMD. AMD viene en una clara tendencia bajista, lo metí en este canal. Simplemente viendo todo lo que estamos viendo, lo que estaba viendo Farhan en la mensual. En la mensual hay un poco de hopium, definitivamente. ¿Por qué? Porque venimos, rebotamos en el 21 y estamos a punto de retomar el 9 definitivamente, que es bastante bueno. El 9 está en los 152, estamos por encima. El precio de AMD en este momento son 153.55. Lo que queremos hacer básicamente en la semanal es poder cerrar, en la mensual, es básicamente cerrar arriba de los 179. Y los 179 están acá. Si no logramos tener un cierre mensual arriba de los 179, muy probablemente esto vaya a irse por ahí de los $100, que es también donde hay confluencia con el 55 y la parte de abajo de este canal. El momentum va para abajo, volatilidad para arriba y hay una señal de venta en el Joule que no es perfecta, pero cada señal de venta en esta acción baja entre 34 y 36%, sea perfecta o no sea perfecta, así que es lo que es, padrino. Cuando volteamos a ver la semanal, básicamente vimos que estamos arriba de la 55, arriba de la 9 y vamos a ir a retestear la 21. Si nos rechaza la 21, esto se va a ver mal. El promedio de los 21 en la semanal está en los 155.41. De nuevo, el precio está en 153 en este momento. Esperamos poder tener un cierre arriba de eso, que también tiene confluencia con toda este soporte y resistencia en el nivel de los 155. Si tienes un cierre acá, podrás irte a buscar ese objetivo de los 179, etcétera. Pero vean que la parte alta de este canal junta con esta resistencia en los 170, por lo que parece que 170 va a ser una zona muy interesante para ver. Si llega a haber un rechazo en los 170, estás creando un alto más bajo, continúas con los bajos más bajos y el precio probablemente se vaya a rolar para abajo. Básicamente, si acabamos el mes debajo de los 179, vamos a ir a buscar la media de los 154 y con eso se confirma que estamos en los 154. Con eso se confirmaría básicamente la señal de venta del Joule, lo que nos llevaría por ahí de los $100, para que tengan una idea de lo que están viendo en AMD. En la diaria tenemos tantito hopium, vas aquí justamente una vez más al nivel de los 155.35, que es donde está el promedio de los 100, para ver si te va a rechazar o no. Así que el primer lugar en el que vamos a ver de verdad qué tanta fuerza lleva esto es acá, donde está el promedio de los 100. Déjeme ver rápidamente. Uy, también está el SMI 200, el de 200 días, así que por ahí de los $155 es un punto muy importante para AMD. Vamos a ver si lo puede romper a la alza o si se la va a comer enterita. Vale, pues. All right, Alex, let's go. What do we got here? NXE. And you're muted, sir.
Nice. So yeah, NXC, interesting chart here. I mean, after that big weekly dump that led us basically to deviate the EMA 100, we basically hit meme support. Nice bounce, reclaim the EMA 100. That's a good sign. But as it stands, I have to look at this. Even though the EMA 100 on the weekly is reclaimed, we still have to be cautious because we have this major level at 650 to $6.60. That we can't just disregard. That was holding us up for a while as support. This also it's a big rejection point. Price was flirting around that area. It's where we were ranging. So to me, it tells me that it's a very pivotal point for price. Currently, I have the $6.60. And I have to look at it like, it makes sense. We're gonna rally back up here. Bears essentially don't want us to break this wick high at $6.91. Especially not close above that. But right as it stands, we have to look as this is like a bearish retest. Coming back up, rallying, going to the 9, maybe wicks a little higher, hits the meme line, and comes back down. I like to, when I trade or look at these things, I like letting price prove to me that it's bullish instead of just trying to assume that it's one way when it's something else. And we see that. I mean, this weekly candle that we had, it wasn't not good for price. You see here how we totally just totally tested these lows again, and then even coming all the way back down and breaking it. Yes, it got bought up. Yes, it looks good for the short term. When I mean short term, meaning we definitely can go a little higher. But right when I'm getting these major moving averages on the weekly mixed in with this major level that just visually you can see it, that it's been a big point for NXE. We can't disregard that. So that's the weekly. And then I like the daily because it kind of solidifies that, yes, it is approaching a big level. And essentially how I would play this would be if we start getting dailies above that daily EMA 100, very much so like the last chart I analyzed. That's a big point for the chart. It has a lot of data attached to it. And we can just see the reaction once it gets above it. So, it's going to keep going down in price. Bulls don't want is this to come down to here, solidifying that 660 essentially will be strong resistance. Now, I'm curious to see how the daily SMA 200 is looking. And we're seeing confluence in that point, right around that $7 level being a very, very key level for NXE essentially. So we'll see if we get a rally to this. As it stands, I'm not thinking we will tap that EMA 100, just because of how the weekly is and how the weekly is positioned. Before we go to that $7, we still have a major level at the 9 here on the weekly, sitting at $6.32, and then also this 21, which is at $6.75. If we get to the point where price comes all the way up here, maybe we will wick to that daily EMA 100. But until then, I'll just be looking at the weekly as resistance. And then if we start reclaiming this level on the daily, it'll be a welcoming sign that, okay, maybe we can push up more. And then essentially, if you are bullish and you want to buy this, you're expecting this low to hold, you quickly want us to get bought back up. You want this last rejection high here at that $6 and $6.92 to basically break, giving a nice squeeze up to the upside. And then the second step would be, you want this to get reclaimed, not deviated, but actually reclaimed and hold for the chance to push higher. Excuse me. But until then, we have to just treat this like a bearish retest. And, if bears want to keep making us range here, not fully push up to the 100, this 100 now is sloping down. So it will meet this meme line within a few days, solidifying, in my opinion, the weekly resistance that we talked about. And we see, the 21. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really getting anything insane here either. We have that fresh daily cross, where the 21 basically went above the 9. Not the best sign. Like I mentioned last chart, when the 9 gets above the 21, it can be a good sign for bulls that potentially a silver cross can happen to the upside. On the flip side, though, I mean, it can be more bearish. And if you don't like if I only use the 55 for confluence of the cross, the silver cross, but essentially what we can also see here is that 55 is perfectly lining up, with this level that we were mentioning. Now I'm curious to see how a bearish retracement would be.
And by the way, that would be a lower high
exactly.
if it gets rejected.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why bulls want this high, this last rejection high to get broken. Because you're 100% right. If it did, let's say, rallies up to here and rolls over, I would look at that as a lower high. Because the trend is your friend, and that is how this trend has been, especially after that those last weeklies that basically broke this major low that was formed on price, came down, broke it. Yes, we closed back. We had a nice pump, but in my opinion, it still broke it even on a wick basis, invalidated that. That's why bulls now want some levels to get reclaimed, especially on that weekly. And that's why that $7 level would make me bullish again on this chart. If we get some like weekly closures above $7, even at $7 exactly, would to me look like a great sign. But until then, yeah, I'm looking at this as like a bearish retest. If we go and maybe draw something, it wouldn't surprise me if we get something like this and then like something like that, until proven otherwise. And the reason I said it is just because of the level that it was holding for so long right here. All these are weekly candles above it. So it solidified that this was some type of support. And we knew that level was key because of these rejections right at it. So, something to watch closely. And I was going to, let me just put in a bearish retracement to kind of see if we get any more confluence around this level.
Check out the monthly and the 9 EMA.
And let me see that. Yeah. And the monthly is not looking good. We see here that last month we lost the 9, bounced off the 21. So it makes sense we're rallying. But then, it's a great point Alejandro brings up, because where is that 9 now coming in perfectly right around that $6.70 level, $6.70 level. So it makes a lot of sense that we're getting confluence on all other time frames telling us that, yeah, that $6.70, maybe $6.60 level is very key for price. And it solidifies what I said, which is if we do get weekly closures above 7, I'll be pretty bullish on this again, because then we'd assume then that the monthly will have just reclaimed the 9, and this could just be a big deviation or SFP. But until then, yeah, I'm looking at this as potentially, even you could even argue it could even find resistance here at the 21 now. We come up a little bit, but it can come down. But there's still 11 days, so it's hard to say. And let's just do real quick a fib retracement zone. Top of this wick here, down to the closure of here. Is it gonna wanna? There it is. And you can see here that golden pocket is perfectly coming in around that $7. So essentially, we're getting a lot of area confluence in that. $7 is going to be a very tricky spot for NXC. If you're holding trades or you're trying to figure out maybe where to position, something to consider if you're watching this. And it's essentially, it's essential that we stick to the levels and understand that the trend is down on this chart. The daily is in a downtrend, which essentially will bleed into the weekly being in a downtrend. And then the monthly now. So worst case here is what bulls absolutely don't want to see, which still has a ways to go. They really would not want this $4.58 low to break. Probably gives us momentum to come back down to this back of the bottom of the range, essentially, which wouldn't be a good sign if we came all the way back down. So as it stands, it looks corrective. I'm looking at as this is like a potential bearish retest. Momentum's already hitting extremes on the daily. It's coming down. So it's telling me that, yeah, this, bulls would welcome consolidation, essentially, especially with the daily hitting extremes, as we see there. So, something to consider. The trend is your friend. Watch that $7 region. As it stands, I have $6.60 to $6.80 being major resistance, maybe a wick to $7. And if we get like 2 weekly closures above $7, I'll be very bullish on the chart, and that'll ideally bleed into the monthly, then reclaiming the 9. Because right now the monthly EMA 9 currently sits. Let me see, where does it sit exactly? Yeah, it sits at $6.75. So, something to watch going into next month. And yeah, I mean, trend is your friend. Watch for the bearish retest, especially on the weekly. There'd be a big level. So,
By the way, on NXE quarterly, possible bearish divergence, very close to confirming.
Yeah, I mean, it does look fucked altogether.
good point.
And
Yeah,
will
more
it confirm
confluence.
below 585? You muted.
It'll confirm with any close below this number here, which is $6.98.
Oh, so it's fucked, basically.
Yeah,
That's what you're
basically.
saying. Got it. Okay.
I see.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you, thank
worries.
you,
And
thank
that's good confluence. The chart's not looking the best. It's breaking down in the monthly. It's just barely holding. And, it is rallying, but we have to look at that as just a lower high that's going to roll over for a lower low. So,
yeah, certainly has all the feel that it will. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Perfecto. And so Farhan, you're gonna do, what do you got next?
AMC. Is
AMC.
that it?
And then Alex, you want to do PATH, PATH?
yeah.
Perfecto. Alrighty, let me throw this on. Bueno, estamos viendo básicamente NXC, que es Next Gen Energy LTD en la básicamente de 3 meses, cada una de estas, pero porque Farhan encontró una divergencia bajista que se va a dar si no tienes un cierre arriba de básicamente esta línea por acá de los 6.90 y el precio está en este momento en los 6.08 para que la gente sepa de lo que estamos hablando. Cuando volteamos a ver la mensual podemos ver, y esto se ve bastante emocionante porque parecería para cualquier ojo pelado, que estamos de este punto pivote creando altos más altos y altos más altos. Pero cuando te pones a ver de cerca, en realidad perdiste el promedio de los 9, el promedio de los 21 y está siendo rechazado en este momento por el promedio de los 21 que está en los 6.12. El precio está en 6.07, aunque esta es la tabla semanal y faltan 11 días y 5 horas para cerrar. Podemos ver que hay un nivel bastante importante aquí en los 5 y que el promedio de los 55 días está intentando irse a buscar por ahí un poco de confluencia, lo que me dice que probablemente vamos a tocar ese nivel. También tenemos, perdimos el EMA 9 en la semanal, perdimos el 21, que es el amarillo, y perdimos el 55, que está justamente junto con esta línea de soporte y resistencia. Y en este momento estamos agarrando, nos venimos a intentar rebotar en el SMA 200 y estamos ahorita justo rebotando a la alza en el 100. Pero lo que más tiene cara esto es de que va a ir a subir acá al 638 o tal vez hasta el 656 y darse la vuelta para abajo y ser rechazado. ¿Qué es lo que esperaría si fuera alcista en este gráfico? Sencillo, y pueden ver la confluencia con la diaria, como el nivel más alto es el del S&P 200 que está en los 713 y obviamente va a bajar, lo que probablemente ponga todos estos promedios por ahí del 670 y tantos y confirme la divergencia bajista de los 3, en la gráfica de los 3 meses que estaba enseñándonos Farhan. Si ese llega, Alex, si ese llega a ser el caso, pues bueno, esto ya está cocinado, señores, y se va al nepe. Ahorita lo primero y lo que antes que nada tenemos que hacer es poder aguantar el precio arriba del EMA 21, que está en los 605, estamos en 608. Si perdemos acá, porque recuerden, ya perdimos el 9 bajó sobre el 21, una vez que ves eso, es que el precio no tiene fuerza. ¿Y qué es lo importante? Pueden ver acá esta vela, este alto que tenemos por acá en los 690. Yo creo que lo único que te debería de importar es poder romper esto. Si puedes romper este nivel y tener cierres arriba, ya sea en la diaria, empezando con la diaria y luego en la semanal, vientos. Si no, muy probablemente todas estas sean zonas para hacer un buen short a esto, porque tiene cara de que no pinta nada bien. De nuevo, tu zona importante es este punto de los 692. Y esta es una vela también de tope, lo que te dio también este bajón y te está diciendo que está consolidando para arriba, que normalmente da el siguiente madrazo para abajo. Así que bastante atención, pongan bastante atención en esto, que no se ve bien la cosa. Y pues sí, es lo que es con NXC. Vale, alrighty.
AMC.
motherfucking C. Hit me with it.
All right, let's see if we can find something for the apes.
It's fucking apes. These are more like chimpanzees.
To be honest, I'm not. I don't have much knowledge of animals, so I thought chimpanzees and apes were the same thing. But
It's just a smaller ape. The chimp. All I know about the chimp is that it destroyed that woman. And do you remember, or were you too young when that happened?
Was it her face?
I might have been too young.
Yeah. When the chimp ate her face, I was at the gym and they put the phone call. It was so disturbing. Everyone at the gym had their headphones on, just watching the TV, because he was like on live TV, like chimp attacks owner and rips her face off. And then you hear the phone call, and it's like the friend, the chimp, it attacked my friend. Is your friend okay? No, it's eating her face. Oh, yeah. And then you can find a picture of this woman. I believe she's still alive. No hands, no face. Yeah. No nose. Fucking destroyed.
Good Lord. Those monkeys are a lot stronger than they look.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they can rip you apart, son.
All right, but one of my biggest issues about these meme stocks and like meme coins and all that stuff in general is they generally do not follow technical analysis. They do their own thing, and they do as much fuckery as they can to drain the liquidity out of the market. Because everybody, like, when they play these coins, they think, oh, I'm gonna squeeze out the bankers. The bankers gonna get what they've deserved, and they're gonna lose all their money. Like, no. Anybody who makes money off of these meme stocks, it's usually the bankers who make the money. Like, sure, some bankers may lose money, but it's not retail who are taking their money. It's the opposing bankers, the opposing hedge funds, and the opposing quant firms who end up actually making the majority of that money.
My quant.
And one of the biggest things where I want to show you about just how fuckery this price action does is we had this massive wick right here. I'm not sure what they announced, but we ended up moving up about 275%, and then from there we wick down 63%. So imagine all the people who thought we're getting the squeeze is being squoze, started buying somewhere up here. It went all the way down. Now they're at a 69% loss. Very nice number. They're probably going to end up dumping. We're getting a little bit of a consolidation here. And normally, if this was a regular stock and it wasn't a meme stock, I would say this is somewhat of an ascending triangle because it's making higher lows while it's making equal highs. So from there, you'd be able to get a measured move. But I'm not going to do that because these things barely work as it is with real assets that follow technicals. It almost certainly will not work with memes. But right now, we're still within this blue zone, which is still hopium, somewhat hopium. But it's not very strong because every single time the chart gets bearish, the blue zone moves down because that's the zone that the price wants to be in. So whenever it moves down, that becomes a magnet for price lower. Hopium right now is that we're still above the median, which is at $4.97. As long as we're above there, I would say that we could probably go around somewhere around $5.40. But I wouldn't bet on it because all of whenever it does hold a median, it quickly rejects and then it breaks below it again, like we did right here. We held it, we held this zone, then we quickly broke below it again. We look at our momentum indicators. Momentum is starting to flip back down, but it has not given us a confirmation of it breaking below the middle zone yet. It's still within positive territory, but the moving average is pointed heavily down. And whenever the moving average is pointed down, the momentum eventually follows the moving average. Volatility is at extreme lows. So whatever direction that momentum decides to take, it's going to make a big move in that direction. And right now, based off of this and based off of that, I know it's a meme stock. I would say it's safe to assume that we're going to get that volatility expansion to the downside. Were you going to say something?
No, I would say so too. Absolutely. Although on the daily, there's a silver cross, if that works at all for anything.
I wouldn't know because I don't have that back tested, so I wouldn't be able to give you the numbers off of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you know that I'm just bushing you and throwing some numbers out there.
No,
I gotta have the back testing and look at the previous data.
Yeah.
Right now on the Joule, we're curving over from a buy signal to a neutral signal. We're about to get a sell signal. To get a confirmed sell signal on the weekly jewel, we have to close below this median at $4.97. Then we'll get a fresh sell signal in this area in the jewel, which is not quite as strong of a sell signal as you would see somewhere over here, but it's still much better than seeing it in the bearish control zone, because now we're seeing it in the middle zone. So it's telling you that bulls were not able to push it into the bearish bullish control zone, and bears are about to take over. But the reason why you like to see it more in the bullish control zone is because from there the bears have more steam to keep pushing it down. From here, they don't have much steam until we get to the bearish control zone, before it would be much easier for bulls to flip it back up. See if I can find the last time we were within that range where we flipped right over here. And where was the price? The price was right at $99.50, where we confirmed that sell signal. The price now is $5. We went all the way down from 99 to basically $33 before we got any type of real significant test of our EMAs. And then from there, we rejected, and then we got a massive dump. So we're starting to get that same sign here as we did there at $99. We look at the daily. The daily is giving us basically the same thing as the weekly, but it's looking a lot weak. The weekly, but it's looking a lot weaker than the weekly, though, because we're right at that median and we're rejecting it. And as long as we reject it off of a daily close and we don't close above $5.10, we're going to have a statistical target of this bottom zone, which is at $4.83. And the reason why I don't think it's going to hold there is because if you see every single time AMC has tested the bottom of the zone, it has never held, and it's always dropped. So it's better off to assume that the previous trend is going to continue to play out versus assuming that it's going to change.
And you would also lose the EMA 9 on the daily, on the weekly, and on the daily.
Yeah, you would lose most of your major moving averages then too. We're getting momentum flipping to the downside, and we're getting volatility reset, which is telling us that because volatility is like a contraction indicator. It's mathematically programmed to expand and contract. So once it expands to the upside, it's mathematically programmed to go back down and reset. Once it's on the downside, it's programmed to go back up. It can only stay this low for so long. The last time we were this low, we were right here. We got this little bit of a move. We ended up not doing much because we went to the middle zone and we didn't properly expand. We expanded over here. We got a little bit of a dump. It doesn't look like that much, but that was still a 21% dump. We got it over here where we got a pump. That one was a 30% pump. So right now we're getting that same thing where volatility is contracting and it's about to expand. But the difference is momentum is breaking to the downside versus this time it was breaking to the upside. So we should be statistically expecting to get that move to the downside. If we look at our Jewel's giving us that same neutral signal. And if we do close below that median, it's going to confirm to a sell signal. I want to look at divergences, but I don't think they're going to really work on a meme stock. So I'll pull up the momentum chart. Right now, on the BBWP on AMC on the weekly, the Bollinger Bands percentile is giving us 3 straight weeklies of zero volatility. The last time we've ever had 3 straight weeklies of zero volatility, never. Volatility on AMC has never been this low since the history of the asset. And the longer volatility is this low, the bigger the move to the upside is going to be, or the downside,
exactly.
Because it's direction neutral. Right now, we have stochastic momentum up as long as price is over $4.63, which is slightly some hopium, but it's not. This setup is not confirmed as long as volatility does not expand above 15%. Let's draw a horizontal line here at 15%. 15% is the confirmation for volatility expansion. So if you see right here, every single time it went to 15% and bounced back above it, we ended up getting a pretty significant move. This time we didn't get that much of a significant move, but I'm sure if we were to put a measurement tool into it, it would still be bigger than what it looks like on the chart. That was still a full. Yeah, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was. That's a 47% drop off of that move there. And while momentum was still in the same area and it was still trying to flip up. So that's why I would say that this is not exactly the hopium that the bulls are looking for. Like, sure, its momentum is flipped up, but the volatility is to the downside. I mean, it's contracted, and trend is to the downside. So we would have to safely assume that it's going to play out to the downside. And on the same time, on the weekly, we have a silver cross to the downside too, and we're rejecting the 21 EMA perfectly.
Mhm.
We would need to play out that silver cross. The monthly is at extreme levels on volatility right now, and it's contracting. So you would expect some type of consolidation here or a mean reversion play. But I put less weight on that once again because it's a meme stock. We look at monthly momentum; it's up above $2.58, but that's only because we're heavily within the bearish control zone. So it's much easier for bulls to keep the momentum up. This doesn't tell us that we're going to go straight up from here. All it's going to tell us is that bears are not going to able to push one of those insane moves to the downside while price is above here. But after the next monthly close, this number is going to go up a lot because we're no longer going to be this heavily in the bearish control zone. At that point, it's probably going to come up to that previous number we were looking at before, where we are at right now, around that $5 zone. If it goes up there, and then the next month we close below $5, momentum has flipped back to the downside on the monthly, and then we can expect one of those big moves based off of the weekly volatility setup, where that's most likely going to expand above 15%, and then we can look for at least a 30 to 40% move from there based off which direction the momentum is pointing at. Let's check the daily. Daily is telling us the exact same thing, where volatility has been in extreme lows for a very, very long time. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days at extreme low volatilities. And right now, the momentum pivot on the daily is $5.02. If we close below that, momentum is going to flip back down. Not only that, it's going to be a rejection of the bullish control zone. So it's going to tell us that bulls tried to take control, but they were not able to, and it's going to be pushed sharply down. At that point, this is going to turn vertical, and this price is going to go much higher. And that's going to tell us that bears are strongly in control, and bulls will have to work way, way harder to flip momentum back up. So based off of the daily setup and the weekly setup, I would say that we should be cautious and looking for a breakdown instead of looking for that move to play out to the upside. And even on the daily, we're rejecting this 200 SMA. We've rejected it every single time. We've been rejecting it since price was at $48. Even then, we went up to $54, rejected it in the 60s, rejected it in the 80s, rejected it up here at the 100s. This has been rejection this entire point. So it would be safe to assume, based off of price history, that this is going to stay as rejection. And every single time we reject it, we get a big move down from there. So if you were to add all of those things together with the low volatility, momentum about to turn down, rejecting at the same place we rejected everywhere before, we can just safely assume the trend will continue once it does continue and the consolidation ends, and then we will resume to the downside.
That sounds impossible. All of the people that have never talked about stocks on Twitter, like the guy that explains the conspiracy theories, told me that this was a sure play.
Yeah, but they have some secret esoteric information that we don't have. So they know, based on what they know, that TA doesn't really matter because the squeeze has not been disclosed. And once it squeezes, it's gonna go straight to $1,000 from there, bro. $1,000 at least.
That's why. That's why
$1,000
he
is
told
bearish.
me.
That's bearish.
Got it. That's why he told me I don't understand what I'm talking about, even though he's never done finance in his life. Got it. Now I understand. I'm sorry. I was just a little curious about it. By the way, what a disappointment after all the stuff that you showed. Like, I can just resume that with this shit looks cooked.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Enough said.
Fuck. Alex, you're gonna bring up Path, right?
Yes,
Next.
sir. Mhm.
Okay. And Farhan, peso dollar. Do you have that pair?
That should be
I
interesting.
will pull it up.
It's MXN USD. Oh wait, USD MXN. I'm sorry, USD MXN. And I'll be right back. Alrighty, let me explain that this shit's cooked in 2 seconds, and we'll jump into yours, Alex. Vale, no entiendo ni siquiera por qué tengo todos esos niveles pintados en este gráfico. Este gráfico es una peladez, estamos viéndolo en la semanal en este momento. Esto, damas y caballeros, es AMC. El precio está en los $5 en este momento. Podemos ver que venimos de los altos más altos de la historia. Voy a refrescar la gráfica para que lo puedan ver, que fueron $391. En este momento estamos en $5, damas y caballeros. Voy a ponerlo en la semanal. Es que donde lo veas, has perdido todos los niveles. La volatilidad se está comprimiendo y ya está compresa a niveles que no hemos visto nunca en la acción. Lo mismo está pasando con Momentum yéndose a la baja, lo que nos está diciendo que va a haber un movimiento correctivo bastante fuerte. ¿A dónde? Muy probablemente a la baja, porque literalmente es la única tendencia que lleva esto. No tenemos objetivos, las acciones de este tipo no funcionan y no puedes hacerle el mismo tipo de análisis técnico a algo que tenga sentido. Y la razón por qué es sencilla, porque esto no tiene sentido alguno. Esto literalmente está vendido en FOMO y que no. La mejor manera de comprar o vender AMC es cuando todo el mundo en X esté mentando madres de que no sube, ahí es cuando compres. Cuando todo el mundo te esté diciendo que va a subir, ahí es cuando vendes. Punto. No hay de otra. Lo siento mucho, me encantaría poder compartir todo el gran análisis que hizo Fire, pero lo mismo le dije, es de, güey, después de decir todo eso, fue para decir que esto va a valer madres. Y ahí es donde estamos parados en este momento con AMC, mi estimada. Vale, alrighty. Vamos a tirar Path en este momento. Alex, here we go.
Nice. So this chart, very much like AMC, it's not looking too good. It's basically just been down only. Had a nice little mean reversion at the bottom here. Came up, a nice bounce, but to me now, the trend is still down. Bulls really wanted this low to hold here. That was the place where we could argue that they could have potentially made the higher low. As soon as we broke this low, it kind of just made the trend down again, in my opinion. The trend's always been down, but what I'm saying that is we were starting to form structure. The hopium here was that we broke these last lows, we went up, came up, actually wicked above there, was looking okay. But then as soon as we lost this support zone, we mega nuked. And that's not a good sign. Also leaving a nice gap on the daily here, right here, major gap here. So as it stands now, what I see is the weekly, which, I mainly look at crosses for Bitcoin, but, as it stands, we do have a silver cross in the weekly that happened right before, basically on this last weekly candle, it happened, and then we mega nuked. So, I mean, there's bearishness, especially in the weekly. And as it stands, I see resistance kind of at the level we're at now. It's hard to chart this because we were just kind of in a range. We broke back into the range and then just kind of nuked it all at once. So it's a little hard to chart this overall, but I do see a nice range with a mid-range here at $14.90. So, right, if we can get back above $12.40 in a weekly closure, I think it'll be, at least good fuel to go to that $14 area. But until then, I'm seeing right now 3 weekly green closures, which is okay. We're on the third one now. But, the slow grind up to resistance, in my opinion, usually leads to some kind of rollover. Now, if we come down from this point, could we backtest this $11 region? For sure. That's what we'd first have to look to hold. But if that level doesn't hold, then, we'll have to look for a lot lower on this chart. And if we go and take a bearish retracement, essentially, right? So if we go, let me get on the weekly here. And I'll take it from this range high to this low here. On the closing basis, if we just take a bearish retracement, I'm interested to see kind of the numbers we're working with if we do break down. And I don't I don't think it's going to go any negative, and that wasn't very helpful. So as it stands, yeah, this chart has massive levels to reclaim. Not even on the weekly. If we go just to the daily, the daily has a lot of it basically needs to reclaim, even this $15.60 level before, any bulls can have an actually sustained rally. The hopium here, I guess, is, maybe if we go to the monthly, you could argue we've potentially double bottomed here. Double bottoms don't hold a lot of weight, just like double tops don't hold a lot of weight. So already that's loose. But the hopium here is, you're going to form a double bottom. You left a massive inefficiency on this dump, leading to a bigger short squeeze. But then, right, even if we rally an impressive percent from where we're at now, all the way to the 9, which is 30%, that is basically, we're now just testing the EMA 9 on the monthly, and that's just the first step. Then we have to get above the 21. We have the meme lines before that. So why I'm saying that is because bulls have a lot of recovering to do on this chart. Structure's been very, very broken. And this was a very exasperated move down, 35% down in one monthly candle closure. That's going to do a lot of damage. And so, you want this to just slowly repair itself, let the moving averages start coming more down, giving bulls kind of more a sustained rally than just rolling over each time we hit a major moving average, which lines up with a major area of support resistance. As it stands, though, we're approaching resistance. Watch that $12.42 level. I have to look at that as being the first major point that's going to potentially reject this chart. If we do get back above there, then I have a nice area at $14.50. And then I do think that if we do reclaim that weekly 9, we will have more of a chance to hit this daily EMA 100, which hopefully then the idea will be this will slowly come down, matching that $14. Kind of solidifying the visual of what we see here, right? The weekly claims the 9, which means we're now above support. Now we'd want that to hold for a chance at the 21. Where's that 21 coming? Right there around that $15 mark. So, it's if this then that, and that's how I see it now. And right now, I see this as a lower high, lower low, and I'm looking at this as the next lower high on the weekly.
Yeah.
And that's just what we have to basically look at. And if you're bullish on this, then just wait for your confirmation of a breakout. If we break this last high here, right around $13.26, but it's not the best sign when we're putting in a lower high already potentially, and we have BBWP fully reset. So momentum volatility can definitely start moving with this chart even more. It's just like what we've been saying for weeks. Many people and I even used to be these type of people where, it's down so much. This candle was 35%. There's no way we can go down lower. Do you see the gap? The gaps like to get filled. This is easy. And then, this just can get filled later on. It doesn't have to fill per se now. Or even in the next few weeks, and being almost like a trap. So don't disregard the weekly resistance, which we're at now. Watch that very closely. Daily looks okay. If we're going just more lower time frames, the daily looks okay. But again, it's solidifying that, we are still approaching resistance. Even if we're not using the weekly EMA 9, let's just use my meme lines. And my meme line, I have resistance here at $12.21. So now is not the time to bid. The deviation trade could have worked out on the lower time frames, but now you're in that gray zone on the chart where, we could easily roll over and form another low very, very easily. And this could just be the next lower high. Confirmation of that maybe not playing out is if this starts coming down more, we reclaim both support levels, and then we trek up and break that $13.26 level. We break that high, then I'll be looking at that $14 area to reject, which makes a lot of sense because that monthly 9 is coming in right around there, which this will be a massive level for the chart overall. And you can see not a lot of data attached with the 9. Maybe on this chart, I'd use the 5, but if we're using the 9, you can see price really, it's only been down. So, we
Yeah.
have to then look at that corresponding also with our meme line as just major resistance. If, right, big if we get up there. But until then, yeah, I'm looking at the weekly to roll over right here and reject. So it will be very interesting to see where this closes in 4 days from now, especially with BBWP reset. It'll be interesting to me.
Very nice, and I appreciate it. This is what I added myself right here. This line to show literally if we can break this right here, we're going to be looking like, all right, price might go and search for the 1250, 1294 and whatnot. But it's just like you said, the double bottom. I think it's what people are trying to catch, and they think that it's done, but it doesn't seem like it.
And that's clean because even on your diagonal, we're getting resistance right around the same area where we break
It's
that,
identical.
we can definitely go up more. For sure. We can squeeze up more.
And if I
But
can
yeah,
add
that's
something
clean.
to that,
Hit it.
on the weekly, there is confirmed bullish divergence. On the 5-day, it's about to confirm.
So it makes sense that he'll go look for this area then.
Yeah.
At some point in the longer term. All righty. Perfecto. Thank you, boys. Thank you, Alex. And Farhan, you're doing the dollar against peso. Alex, S&P 500.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir. Let me just share this with everybody and let's go. Ok, estamos viendo PATH. Se llama UIPATH Inc., que es básicamente una empresa de software. Y lo primero que vamos a notar rápidamente con esta tabla es que ha estado en caída libre desde el principio. Llegó a costar o a valer $90. En este momento está tradeando por $12 y 2 centavos. Esto abrió el 21 de abril. Obviamente con el super pompazo del 2021 que se llevó todo. Voy a ponerlo en la semanal para que podamos ver un poco más y vean cómo estamos literalmente un poco mal parados en este momento. Yo creo que lo que está viendo en este momento, y esto es algo que dijo Alex también, es, tuviste el fondo, ¿no?, del mercado en octubre del 2022 y ahorita volviste a tocar ese fondo. Esto técnicamente es un bajo más bajo porque aparte tienes un cierre más fuerte. Más completo. Puedes ver cómo es la vela entera cerrando literalmente así, aunque cerró aquí arriba, no te está dando estos flashazos rápidos de absorción de liquidez, sino que es el cuerpo entero de la vela. Y ahora estás equiparado. ¿Qué estamos buscando? ¿Qué estás buscando si eres alcista con esto? Romper esto. Primero que nada es simplemente romper estos niveles. El primero está en los $12, el $12.3, y el segundo es esta línea en la diaria, y se los voy a poner más de cerca para que lo puedan ver. Y en la de harina, que es la diaria, puedes ver cómo te has encontrado desde este pico con resistencia cada que el precio intenta subir. Y aquí es una convergencia muy importante, y Farhan justamente también nos dijo que hay una posible divergencia alcista presentándose en este momento. Puedes ver que en la diaria estás arriba del 21, estás arriba del 9, que es el azul, y probablemente vayas a ir a buscar esto, el 55, que en este momento está en los 13, pero va a bajar. ¿Qué es lo primero que tienes que hacer? Romper esta zona de los $12.3, poder tener un cierre aquí arriba en la diaria y también en la semanal. Hay bastante confluencia también con el EMA 100, que está justamente por esta media del canal en los 14.92. Y si te pones a ver en la mensual rápidamente y le regresamos por ahí, puedes ver que también el 9 está a punto de entrar en esa zona. Por lo que, sencillo, yo creo que esta es una de las gráficas más sencillas de todo. Simplemente quieres empezar a romper esta resistencia que está en los 12.3. De ahí ir a ver si puedes crear un nuevo alto en los 12.55. De ahí ir a ver si puedes crear un nuevo alto en los 12.96. De ahí romper estos altos en los 13.28. De ahí probablemente puedas tocar en la media del canal en los 13.95 y ahí vas a tener bastante resistencia. Si el precio en este momento rebota acá y se va para abajo, olvídalo, vas a tener nuevos bajos, nuevos mínimos. Yo personalmente me esperaría romper esto con contundencia antes de decir le voy a entrar a esto porque tiene cara que quiere caer más. Vale, vamos a ver el peso contra el dólar, damas y caballeros, cortesía de Farhan. Farhan, give it to me, baby.
I'm muted. All right, so we're going to start with the weekly. I'm going to use this chart first instead of the HPDR because based on Forexes, I like to look at the momentum pivots. So right now, based off of this move right here, how much of a percent move was this? Let's make sure, just to give you guys an idea. About a 24.6% move, which is absolutely massive for Forex. You barely see them move like that at all. Whenever you see moves like this, it tells you there is something else going on in the geopolitical scene that's causing people to get out of a certain other asset and get into a different one. And right now we're seeing volatility at extremes. It's kind of contracting a little bit. So we can expect a consolidation here instead of it just keep going straight to the moon. The reason why I think this is extremely bullish right now is because we have a fresh silver cross on the weekly right here. Not only that, but we have one of those better silver crosses where the moving averages are bunched together and they end up crossing. And then we have a retest of this 9 EMA right here. And then we end up making another high. While we're sort of below this 200 and this volatility is contracting, I would expect us to go sideways a little bit, maybe retest a 9 again, base off of there, and then make another try for a high. Right now, we're still within the bullish control zone. The bulls are still my bad. The bulls are still within control as long as price is above $18.66. I need to get a drink of water. My throat is getting dry as hell.
Just for special effects.
$18.66. Momentum is still to the upside. Right now, we're at 18.74. So as long as we keep maintaining this bullish control zone, at that point, we would expect volatility to contract, get somewhere around the middle zone, and then I would expect our next big move from there. And to give you guys an idea of the strength of the silver crosses on the weekly on this asset, here's when we had one right here. This was around February of 2020. Price went from here another almost 40% higher all the way up to 25. So we had that same type of silver cross in this area. So if you apply the same type of move, let's not do 40, let's just do a conservative 30%. That would take price somewhere over here at $23 area. And where does that line up perfectly with? Let's draw a horizontal line. Right there with these previous rejective highs. So if you were to get over this area over here,
what if you get to 40?
The 40%?
Yeah, you just
let's
entertain me just a little bit.
Entertain us. That 40% number would take us to right around these rejective highs right over here. So we would be looking for once this consolidation phase is done, the confirmation is going to be a close over this 200 SMA. Once we get a close over there, we can expect this silver cross to play out, and we would get somewhere around a 30 to 40% move up from there, as long as momentum is still pointed to the upside.
What year was that high? That
2020, right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
This is because everybody went. This is obviously kind of like a carry trade, and this is basically everyone going into pesos first before the pandemic, right? You're in pesos. Why? Because when you put your money in bonds, Mexican bonds, they give you 11%. And the value in these periods of the dollar against peso, the peso gains terrain. When there's something bad that's about to happen, all those pesos and all those bonds that pay 11% get sold, turn into dollars. What does that do? That makes the peso against the dollar go down, the dollar go up against the peso. Those people go and put their money into into bonds. They get 4%, 5%, but they already made so much money plus the difference in exchange. So you're making 40% plus the 11% that you made before plus your appreciation. These are huge trades, humongous trades. Wow. And they happen every time before a major recession. The one before this, I can guarantee you, is 2000. It's 2008, 2009, 2008, probably 2009. And yeah.
We don't have the history.
Interesting.
But yeah, I saw it on that chart that you shared on Twitter before. Yeah, it was 2008, 2009. We just don't have.
And he did it before also in the 2000. So he does it every single time there's going to be a major financial crisis in the United States. The peso dollar is the first one to tell you. And right no one cares.
Right now, one thing I do say to advise caution though on this is that we still have this monthly silver cross to the downside, and we're rejecting currently at the 55 EMA, and that price on it is, let's see if we can get it. I'm going to give you the exact number. It is right at $18.74-75 area. So as long as we close below there, this will be a massive monthly shooting star. It'll mark a top candle, and we'd have to go down from there. But if we close above it, it doesn't really matter how the candle looks. We might get some consolidation, and then from there, I would expect a big upside move. And the reason why I'm leaning towards that happening is because if we look at our monthly momentum pivot, monthly momentum is up as long as the price is over 16.48, and we're healthily above that right now. So as long as we close above that, the momentum will still continue to the upside. And at the same time, we have volatility support as well, where volatility is expanding, and now we're at 62%. So when we're at 62%, we can still expect a decent sized move higher from there. As you saw right here, I didn't top out until volatility hit the upper 90s or the 100% in this area. So we still have a good amount of move to run on the volatility, while momentum is still heavily pointed to the upside. Check the higher time frames. On the quarterly, it's freshly turned back up to the upside, while price is above 16.34. So multiple different things are telling you right now that this pair is looking very bullish to go to the upside, but I wouldn't expect it to happen right away. I would expect a little bit of consolidation before we make the actual move. Let's check if there's any divergences on this. Yeah, so on the monthly right now, we do have some bullish divergence. The easy target has played out because we've hit the 55 EMA, but we don't have a local bottom yet. So as long as we don't have a local bottom, the way to confirm a local bottom is you would have to get a candle close below 1858. You get a candle close below there, we've confirmed a local bottom. This bullish divergence will have played out. And not only that, but you see right here, we've made a higher high on the RSI. Actually, no, it's the price action. Yeah, it would be. My bad, I was wrong. It's a higher high on the RSI, but a lower high on the price action. So that would mark hidden bearish divergence if that doesn't make a local top. But so far we have not marked that yet, so it's not actionable. The only one that's actionable is this confirmed confirmed regular bullish divergence. We go to the weekly. We do have a drive of bearish divergence here on the weekly, but it's not too bad because we're finding support right here at the edge of the bullish control zone and at the moving average. The way to it's not played out yet because we don't have a local bottom. The way to invalidate this bearish divergence is to make a local bottom right here, and we would have to close above $18.77 on the weekly. This will be a confirmed local bottom. This divergence will have played out, and then we would have right here a little inverse head and shoulders on the RSI, which would give us a target of the upper bullish critical zone. And right now that level is at $22.54. Look at the daily. Daily, not much divergence. 12-hour right now is about to give us a fresh drive of hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence can be considered a continuation divergence because the trend on the 12-hour is still to the upside. So once that confirms, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of confirmed hidden bullish divergence, and we'd have to target what do you call it? At the very least these highs, if not a little bit higher. And let's see if we can draw one of these little things. The number we would want to get above to actually have that full divergence move play out is we want to get a close above this 382, which is 1921. Then we would have to target these previous highs up here at 1986. At that point, because $20 is such a significant psychological level, I think it'll blast past $20 a little bit because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to place their shorts at $20, and that will give us that same lower to mid $20 number we were looking at before, which right now is my bias to play out because this hidden bullish divergence is basically a formality. It's going to confirm as long as we close above 1861. As long as we close a weekly above 1860, 12-hour above 1861, we have 4 hours and 52 minutes for that to confirm. That'll confirm, but then that move will play out. And right now, the Jewel is also giving us a flip around from the sell signal to a neutral signal. At that point, that will give us another buy signal. And then let's see if there's any divergences on here. Yeah. So we made a lower low on there, and then the Jewel made a higher low. So that would give us some hidden bullish divergence on the Jewel as well. So you
It's
have
got more hidden bullish divergences than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything with this many hidden bullish divergences on so many different time frames. The only other thing I've seen is tether dominance, and both are not very good for risk markets.
Not at all. Well, they go hand in hand, to be honest with you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but aside from that, I don't see any other divergences. I'm just seeing that this is a little bit of a consolidation zone, in my opinion. I would look for a base, and then I would look for the divergences to play out, and end up going higher from there to those upper $19 targets, maybe maybe up to like $22 or $23 while the whole move plays out. But I think that would take a good amount of time to play out. I don't think it will happen anytime soon.
No, the only time it'll happen anytime soon is if they announce that something terrible just happened overnight and then you just go bananas.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, you should take some time to build it up. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Holy shit. Bueno, estamos viendo el gráfico del peso contra el dólar, básicamente, y estamos, les tengo que decir, Farhan nunca había visto en ninguna tabla la cantidad de divergencias alcistas escondidas en tantas diferentes temporalidades, ¿ok? ¿Qué estamos viendo? Habíamos visto cómo venimos desde el 2020, ¿no? Justamente el peso contra el dólar es una tabla de las más interesantes porque cuando tiene un silver cross, aquí hay uno, por ejemplo, ¿saben qué fecha es esta? El 2008, justamente cuando el mercado se cayó. Aquí, por ejemplo, hay otro silver cross a la alza. Espérame. Literalmente es la única vez que lo había hecho antes. En la mensual, espérame, voy a buscar. En la mensual, en la semanal hay más. Pero esto fue en el 2008 y pueden ver el madrazo que dio el peso contra el dólar. El peso estaba chileando abajo de $10 y se fue hasta 15.50. Y luego de acá tenemos nuestro siguiente momento importante, ya puesto en la semanal, lo pueden ver. Acá es el otro movimiento que tuvo igualito y el otro Silver Cross, que lo hizo justamente acá. Y eso fue justamente antes de COVID y el movimiento fue 40%. Tenemos otro de esos en este momento pasando y lo pueden ver acá. Rápidamente se los pongo. Tienes otro cruce plateado, otro Silver Cross en la semanal acá, lo que empieza a darte este movimiento alcista y nos empieza a decir y a contar la historia de lo que estamos viendo. Pueden ver cómo en la semanal estamos arriba del 21, que es el amarillo, estamos arriba del IMX100, estamos arriba del 9, estamos arriba del 56, estamos arriba de todos. Y a lo que vamos a ir a retestear el 200, el SMI 200, que está aquí en los $19. Lo que estábamos viendo es que también hay una divergencia alcista que es una continuación básicamente en la de 12 horas. Y aquí la idea es, en la de 12 horas con que cerremos arriba de 18.61 y en este momento el precio está en 18.75, con eso va a ser suficiente para poder empujar el precio, ir a buscar tu siguiente objetivo en los 19. De ahí de los 19 puedes ir a empezar a buscar los 19.57 y ahí romper los $20. Probablemente el objetivo que tenemos hasta ahorita, y estos son objetivos que yo ya tenía, es exactamente esto, los $22. La parte más extrema que yo tengo son $22. Y yo creo que sacando todos los promedios que hicimos ahorita, estamos viendo lo mismo. El peso dólar tiene demasiada fuerza en este momento, el dólar en contra del peso, y probablemente vaya a continuar esta tendencia. Y de nuevo, sigue siendo uno de los mejores indicadores. Si en este momento, este año, tenemos un cataplum económico en Estados Unidos, este va a ser el mejor indicador de la historia que nadie le pone atención, más que nosotros, por alguna razón. All right, Alex, we're going to go into the S&P 500, and then for Farhan, I got RKT wrecked. No, I don't know what it is, but RKT.
We're all wrecked.
We're all wrecked at this point. All righty, Alex, let's go.
Nice. So let me see here. So I like watching ES1 in regards to the S&P 500. Yeah, I just like that it's open all the time and it's futures, so it's what institutions like to trade. What I'm watching in the daily was this scenario. That doesn't seem like it's playing out now, but there's still, a good amount of time for the closure to basically leave a wick. And as it stands, I wanted it basically to come up and find some resistance here. If you see this just simple diagonal that I drew here before I started talking, it kind of nonchalantly formed like a nice channel that we were in. Failed breakdown, which is often what at least in my experience with Bitcoin, if when you get these kind of these wedges, I guess, you'll often get like a fake move first, and then the real move happens. Fake breakdown, reclaim to breakout. The theory I have here of maybe finding some pullback here. It makes sense to me because you see the daily is now very strong. It's developing very strong today, and that's why I'm unsure if it'll play out. But in a perfect world, what I would like to see is like us to roll over, come and back test this zone here. Big zone. We have the 9 and the 21 perfectly right here. Why I don't think that maybe might not happen is because of the fresh silver cross in the daily here. Lots of momentum with bulls right now, especially with equities. And it goes hand in hand with what Farn was mentioning. Right over here at this level where, he was saying that stocks seem like they have bottomed. And I agree with him. And that is solidified by this massive deviation we had here. So as it stands, I am watching the daily. I do think we could find some resistance around where we're at now. I think the closure is very important. And if we come back down to, $5,470 area, I'll look at that as a major opportunity to potentially bid the back test. We come down, back test, hit the 9 again, bounce from there where we'd supposed to, would make a lot of sense to me. And that's why I had this drawn here. This is something I've been watching for a few days now. So we'll see kind of where the daily develops, if at all. And then let me go now to the weekly, right? The weekly looks insane. Remember, this blue line here is representing what happened on VIX, right? With this blue line here. Each and every time the VIX is hit 60 or above, that's resulted in a massive bottom for stocks. This was the last time you can see here. Solidifying almost like what Farn was mentioning. And why I don't think, S&P 500 will have a bunch of downside. But, I'm also more bearish on Bitcoin. You'll often see, the more higher risk assets front run the sell off, and then you'll see more of the safer stuff start selling off. Very, very much, that definitely could be a possibility. But as it stands now, exactly. But as it stands now, it's looking strong, and I can't be bearish on this just because I'm bearish on Bitcoin. That would be illogical. Totally different markets. So, I'm bullish on this. It looks bottom to me. It reclaimed the levels that it needed to last week on this insane rally up. This was very impressive where it needed to rally. Now, a pullback would actually be welcoming. That is what bulls would want. And I'm just liking that we're getting a lot of confluence around that 5,000, like $460, $470 level, right along with the 9, the EMA 9. Each time on this rally, you just bid the 9. It was an opportunity. So now we have to just get back in that mindset because we deviated, reclaimed, and now we would back test and let price prove to us that it is flipped that now into support again. An area that price has loved to flip into support. And that's kind of what I'm watching for this month. It could play into my analysis where Bitcoin can come down very easily then, especially if equities roll over. But as it stands, S&P 500 looks good. I think it's important to, look at the majors when you're looking at the S&P 500, Microsoft, Apple, Google, all those things, and Apple is something I like to watch in regards to it. And it is right at resistance as well. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if we got a pullback, especially on the insane rally we've had overall. Major green, right? Each day it's been green for many days now. So a pullback is extremely welcomed. And that's something I'll be looking at ES1 as an opportunity, especially if we get to that $5,460 level. Lose that wouldn't look the best. But as it stands right now, it's looking good. And the daily, it's looking quite healthy. and the weekly definitely solidifies that with this insane rally up. It'll just be interesting where it develops. Now, the monthly, let me go and clean this up a bit because I can't even see. And the monthly is looking okay. I mean, there's still time to see where this goes to. It's okay. Last month was kind of like it didn't nothing really important happened to the closure last month, in my opinion. I don't see much. We were just caught in a range here on the monthly, still well above the 9, which makes sense, and that's just basically all I can say is, equities have been strong. They've been strong for a while now. So, I mean, it's hard not to just be bullish and expect more upside. And the downside I'm talking about is just more short term, and that's really it. Like, I do believe that we can easily come back down. And definitely test the cluster of EMAs we have here on the daily, which is right around that weekly level as well that I was mentioning. But then again, stocks have kind of been like in up only mode. So I'm unsure. But here would be the place I'd look for a pullback. So we'll see where this closes, the daily closes today. If we close back above into this, great. We'll probably go back and test this $5,620 level. There, could we roll over? Sure, just like here. Reclaimed, rallied up, hit the level, and then rolled over. The difference here, though, is that we found resistance at the 9 and prices healthily above the 9 with a fresh silver cross to the what's it called, upside on the daily. Right here, we can see the 21 slightly lost it, fell below, but then got quickly above again, above the 55. Strong signal, in my opinion.
And by the way, after that last weekly close, it did confirm a weekly hidden bullish divergence.
So like it would make sense to back test, come back down, go back to that $5,460 level. Momentum is pretty heavily at the extremes. So, bull's best chance is consolidation. And, if anything, then if we do go down, they would look at that as a back test, bullish retest. And the weekly solidifies that right here. If we come down, it'd be a nice dump, but really, if we go and back test the 9, just like here, right? We came down, it wasn't all in 1 week, but it had a nice rally, and then we came up, hit resistance, came down, back tested it, and oftentimes in a major easy uptrend, the 9 on a higher time frame, like a weekly, will just act as another higher low. So that's what I'll be looking at, until proven otherwise. As it stands, it seems like the 21, quickly got deviated, held nicely. And here we are again. Nothing's really changed with equities in regards to the S&P 500. This entire rally, price has basically been flirting with the 9 and the 21 on the weekly. Anytime we've dumped into the 9, it lost it and went to the 21 was a major opportunity. Is that what we saw, a few weeks ago where that happened? I'm unsure, and especially with the VIX correlation always hitting over 60 and that leading to some type of bottom, macro bottom, I'm unsure. But to me, I have to look at that, and the trend is our friend. And S&P 500 has been insanely strong, so it would be unwise to look at that any differently. Now, what bulls really want now, though, consolidation. Back test would be healthy, and then they want to break this high. They want to keep the trend going up. So getting back above 5,715, call it the July 15th on the weekly, the July 15th high, which was, $5,721.25. That's bull's objective, in my opinion. They just want to consolidate, push up, maybe back to flip the 9 back into support to prove that it is support, giving them more momentum to break this high. If we roll over here, you're going to hear bears talk about this is the next lower high, but that's illogical because we're not at all. We haven't broken down on the macro at all, so it's hard to say that. It's more just an assumption. Because as it stands, we are above the weekly 9. We're holding the weekly 21. We have a fresh silver cross on the daily, and it's looking quite healthy. an Apple, yes, it's at resistance, but it's still looking strong, and we can easily come back down just a bit, back test, flip into support to move up. If you're bullish, yeah, you're just looking at this next high to not hold and to break to the upside. And that has implications for, hopefully Bitcoin, even though we haven't really seen the correlation so far with S&P 500 moving, breaking all-time highs, it seemed like every single week, where Bitcoin's in some kind of consolidation range. So very interesting. Overall, pullback wouldn't surprise me. Watch closely. And then if we do hold the 9 on the weekly, I'd look at that as, just like another shallow low, leading to maybe expansion to break that high. That would be the next objective. So
very nice, sir. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave you with Snap. Yes, Farhan.
And speaking of that S&P not following Bitcoin, did you guys hear that MicroStrategy announced that they're putting out $2 billion worth of shares, and they're going to use that to buy Bitcoin? At the same time, the U.S. government has transferred $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. So the speculation right now is that MicroStrategy is going to be buying those Bitcoins from the U.S. government.
No way. That's too perfect, no?
Yeah.
I know, right?
But if it happened, that would be the scenario where all the stars align and the moons align. And
well, talking about the stars and the moon, I mean, we do have...
here's my hopium dealer back. I'm sorry, just had to say it.
We do have a bull moon, today on...
We do.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, full moon, bull moon.
Oh,
we do. I can't believe we're doing this. We might as well just start like an astrology charts channel.
Something, yeah. I mean, maybe those crystal girls know a little bit more than
maybe Mercury's in Gatorade once again.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal that from you. All right, let me do a shameless plug with it for everyone here. Damas y caballeros, para todos ustedes que quieran venir y platicar con nosotros, les voy a dejar acá el enlace del Discord de Elite Trading Academy. Es completamente gratis. Simplemente cuando entre van a encontrar aquí en la parte izquierda el análisis de Alex, el análisis de Farhan, nuestros socios que es BitGet, para que puedan, si quieres comprar cripto, quieres comprar Bitcoin, Ethereum en futuros, apostarle a lo duro, usar apalancamiento, tienes BitGet acá que es internacional, no funciona en Estados Unidos, pero funciona en todo el mundo y tiene buenos fees. Abajo tenemos a Bluffing. Bluffing también sirve para todo el mundo, sirve en Estados Unidos, no necesitas KYC, los fees de BitGet son mejor, pero pues esto es más fácil tener una cuenta que no. Y acá también tiene TradingView por si necesitan algún descuentillo en su TradingView, pues ahí lo tienen. Aquí vengan a decir hola, aquí tenemos para que vengan a preguntarnos qué tablas quieren ver, aquí hay noticias, aquí tenemos los P&L cards de la gente, bien por ti, buen short ahí, hermano. Tenemos acá toda la gente en el chat general platicando y aquí es donde puedes venir a preguntar. Toda la gente siempre ayuda a todo el mundo. Pues ahí lo tienen, se los dejé en pantalla y vámonos rápidamente de vuelta al análisis del SP500 que me quiero reventar esta carne y tocino. Para que vean, están comiendo, oigan, ya hicieron todo para bajar su colesterol. Si quieren bajar su colesterol, les recomiendo no comer carne, no comer huevos, coman comida procesada, muchos carbohidratos. Todo eso es bastante bueno para bajar el colesterol. Pero si quieren tener su colesterol bien, coman carne y huevos, ¿no? Es todo. Yo sé que les enseñaron esto, que el colesterol es malo para todos ustedes, pero no lo es. Vale, empecemos, damas y caballeros, con el SP500. Estamos viendo el SP500 en la semanal. Honestamente, tiene bastante fuerza. Pueden ver cómo el está arriba de todos los promedios. Estamos arriba del 9, arriba del 21, arriba del 55. Y tenemos un cruce aquí atrás, un cruce plateado acá atrás, que es lo que está dando todo este movimiento. Lo que la gente está intentando ver es si esto ya es tope y vamos a hacer un segundo alto más bajo que este, y este fue el alto más alto. Estamos justo en contra de resistencia en este momento y no nos sorprendería para nada que vayamos a retestear donde se encuentra en este momento el EMA 9, usarlo como soporte y poder empujar a nuevos altos, nuevos máximos. No podemos decir que esto es igual que Bitcoin, que güey, ¿por qué estás alcista en el SP500 y no en Bitcoin? Es diferente. Lo vimos en el 2021, en diciembre del 2021. Bueno, noviembre del 2021 fue el pico de Bitcoin. Enero del 2022 fue el pico del mercado tradicional. Y estamos un poco siguiendo ese tipo de patrón en este momento. Mercado tradicional lleva bastante fuerza y lo puedes ver con todos sus derivados, ¿no? Con todas las cosas que forman parte de él, con Apple, con Tesla, etcétera. Creemos que vamos a romper máximos históricos acá sin duda alguna, a menos de que algo extraño pase, pero tiene toda la pinta y se ve bastante fuerte en la semanal, también en la diaria, lo pueden ver la fuerza y cómo todo va en verde y todos. Tienes acá también, un delicioso cruce rapidísimo plateado acá a la alza que acaba de pasar. Así que tiene muchísima fuerza el precio y de nuevo, no nos sorprendería para nada si viene a consolidar por acá. Eso ayudaría a que muchos de los bajistas digan, ya no hizo un segundo nuevo alto y que se los lleve a todos al nepe, pero también se puede dar la vuelta y caer. Así que importante que mantengamos el precio por encima de estos promedios y asegurarnos que se apoye y vaya a la alza. Vale. Alrighty. What are you, what's next? Rocket. Is that what it is? Rocket Mortgage?
Yep.
Those motherfuckers. They emailed me and they were like, we don't have a mortgage for Juan. Because when I first tried to get a mortgage the first time, I was like, why would I bother any of my friends? I can get just a mortgage online. And the guy was such a fucking asshole. He goes, no, we're not gonna give a mortgage to Juan. I'm like, there's no Juan in this email. There's an Alejandro, you fucking piece of shit.
Some racist motherfuckers.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Dude, so racist. I was blown away. But then again, all this crazy shit happens to me all the time, so nothing.
Oh, it happened to me too. I went to JP Morgan. I was like, I just need a small loan of $5 million to buy some cryptocurrency. And could you imagine they said no?
What?
Crazy, right?
Why would they say no? It was just a small loan of $5 million to buy cryptocurrencies. It's one of the most stable assets out there. I don't understand.
It's a matrix attack.
That's what I would say.
Fucking matrix piece of shit. No wonder Andrew Tate hates it so much. All righty, Rocket.
All right. So one thing that I find very interesting right now is that this is a mortgage company, and we found the exact top in 2021 when there was unlimited amounts of free money in the system. Basically, anybody and their grandma could go to a bank and get a 1 or 0% interest loan, take all that free money and invest whatever and buy whatever the hell they want with it. Ended up dropping down afterwards. It bottomed around right around 2022, whenever rates hit their peak, and the Fed announced that they were going to start looking into easing their balance sheet. Right now, what I'm looking at is that we had this little meme line right here, which we made from this breakdown back in 2021. We rejected it, then we solidly closed above it. Now we're back testing it, and we're above this line right here. As long as we're above this line and we close above this line, we have to target these previous projective highs of here, right around 2268. And if we look at our RSI right here, we have a confirmed drive of bullish divergence, which has still not been played out yet because we don't have a local bottom. And the way to confirm this one as a local bottom is going to take a lot because it confirmed all the way back here. So you're going to need a close below this candle's open, which right now is at $8. You would need to close below $8, and that would confirm this is a local bottom, local top, and then you would have, and the bullish divergence would be invalidated. And then if you look down to our momentum indicators now, I mean volatility is starting to tick back up to support this move up right here. We go to the weekly. The weekly still also has a couple of drives of bullish divergence, but these are hidden bullish divergence, which tells us continuation of trend right now because the weekly trend is to the upside. The weekly is close to silver cross. It already has silver crossed. It's crossed right here at December of 2023. And right now we're still holding the 21 each way across. Not only that, but now we're holding the 9. That's giving us even more strength into this silver cross, telling us that it's a powerful silver cross that we should keep watching. Right now we have a very strong jewel signal to the upside as well, which is breaking into the bullish control zone, telling us that bulls are taking strong control of momentum within this area. We look at the 5-day. 5-day is strongly also within the bullish control zone. The jewel is giving us the same strength of the buy signal. Let's go on to the daily. The daily right now is healthily within the bullish control zone. It's maintaining within the bullish control zone. You guys see this little white triangle right here? This signifies
Yep.
a local bottom. Usually a regular RSI will not tell you that. You have to be able to tell by yourself what a local bottom is. The reason why I like this one is because it takes a lot of guesswork out of it, and it just marks it for you. But this one is not free. You have to pay for this one. And right here we have a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders on the RSI as well, and we're right about to break above the neckline. If that happens, we have to target this top of the bullish critical zone, and keep in mind this number is going to move down. But right now that number is at $23.20. So we this ends up playing, because this is a daily chart, so it's going to take probably like 1 or 2 months to play out. If it does play out within 1 or 2 months, that $23 zone is probably going to come down to maybe $22 or $21, and then we'd have a target around there. And the reason why I think that won't be at the top is because that's going the $20 level is a very psychological level. So once you break above there, you're gonna take everybody's stop losses, maybe a couple of liquidations, and you'll probably get a little bit higher from there. Let's switch back to the weekly and see if we can draw a fib. Go to the ultimate low right here. And that would give us that same $24, $22, $24 area. You got to take these numbers with a grain of salt because they also move. But whenever you see them anywhere around each other like that, that gives you perfect confluence. So right now, multiple setups right here are telling me that we should be looking for Rocket to go somewhere around $21, maybe $23 area based off of these charts. Now I want to look at one more. Look at the statistics chart, because there's one motto to live by. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. So right here on the weekly, we are hitting the 95% range. So in this area, I would expect some consolidation, because you have to minus this from 100. So you only have a 5% chance of closing from above here. And 5% chance is not something I would take a lot of high financial risk betting on, because 95% chance you're going to fail.
Agreed.
But on the opposite end, you're getting literally a perfect jewel signal right here, where the pink is above the yellow and the light blue is above the pink, and now we're entering the bullish control zone. If you go to the monthly looks a little bit better because we're at the 88.3. It's still not looking the best for continuation, because you still only have an 11.7% chance of continuation from here. So what I would look for is a little bit of consolidation before we get our next breakout. And to get our little consolidation target zone, what we can see is we'll go from this one.
The price is always above the blue though on this one.
Yeah, whenever it's above the blue, it's been below it since it bottomed out. And then it's been maintaining it the entire time, which tells you whenever it's above it and it's not able to break back into it, that it has a lot more strength than that. Yeah. And right now that number we're looking at, same $20 area, comes up again for our targets for the longer term. But for the consolidation targets, here's what we could look for. Somewhere around this $18.50 area. $18.50 to maybe $18. I would look for a consolidation in that area. Get our momentum indicators to reset, our volatility indicators to reset, and then I would look from there to get a move up to $20. But here's something I want to show based off of Rocket Mortgage. If Rocket Mortgage is looking this good right now, you guys seen the Big Short?
Yeah, of course.
There's a bubble. Hey, there's a bubble.
Now, when you looked at price, you were saying that, and I'm going to put this on right now. You're looking at price on this, and you said, "Oh, look, the top came in at on basically March of 2021." What's the relationship that you mentioned?
I believe that is around the time the Fed started saying that they were going to start cutting rates, right? I mean, increasing rates. And
that was exactly when the Federal Reserve completely changed stance and they started hiking, and that's when literally mortgages went up.
So if you look at it on the opposite end right now, not only the Federal Reserve telling us, but the entire market is expecting at the very least a 25 basis point price cut in September, and a lot of the market is also expecting a 50%, 50 BPS cut. So if that happens, then this thing is going to go to the moon, in my opinion.
That's what they're saying, right? Like, this is what this chart is saying, that probably very soon they're going to drop rates and Rocket Mortgage is going to be fucking swimming in on paper. That's what it is, right? Okay.
That's a safe assumption I would take from it.
I would take it too. Excelente, señor. Thank you so much. Vale, pues, estamos viendo Rocket Mortgage. Para los que no sepan, esta es una compañía que da hipotecas, menos a su tío Salo, que le dijeron que no iba a haber hipoteca para Juan. Se los juro por mi puta vida. No sé por qué, y también yo por idiota, ¿no? ¿Por qué fui a pedir una hipoteca a alguien que no conozco cuando tengo a mis amigos que trabajan en bancos? Pero bueno, no los quería chingar. Total. Rocket Mortgage, la compañía más racista de todas las que puedes pedir hipoteca. Vean esto. No tiene tanto historial, empezó en agosto del 2020, pero lo que sí podemos notar es esto, este pico que hizo en marzo del 2021. ¿Qué pasó en marzo del 2021? Y es justo lo que estaba platicando con Farhan ahorita. Fue justamente cuando la Reserva Federal empezó a incrementar tipos y también cuando en sí las hipotecas empezaron a costar más. Y de ahí tuviste el bajón, y el bajón llegó al fondo en octubre 22 y ahora va para arriba. En este momento, el fondo más grande que tú, el fondo más bajo, si lo quieres ver así, está en $6. El alto más alto está en 42. En este momento estamos en 19,20. ¿Qué es lo que estamos viendo? Que va con bastante fuerza. Tuvimos un Silver Cross acá, un cruce plateado justamente en estas fechas. Y estas fechas son exactamente diciembre del 2023, cuando empezaron a prometer que iban a bajar tipos. No se les olviden eso. Entonces, muy probablemente esto sea un indicador adelantado de lo que nos está diciendo, que muy probablemente sí vayan a bajar tipos y que a Rocket Mortgage le va a ir otra vez muy bien, como le fue en el 2021. Eso es lo que nos está diciendo mínimo esta acción. Siguiente objetivo son tus $21. Obviamente estás encima de todos los... ¿cómo se llama? Todos los EMAs, SMAs importantes, los voy a llevar a la diaria para que puedan ver también de cerca y vean cómo estamos arriba del 9, arriba del 21, arriba del naranja, del 55, arriba del 100 y del 200. Muy probablemente vengamos a consolidar por acá los $18, pero eso no es motivo de preocupación. Eso es simplemente antes de seguir la continuación del movimiento, que tiene bastantes divergencias alcistas escondidas en diferentes temporalidades. Lo que probablemente sea nuestro último siguiente target son los 21 y de ahí los $24. Así que bastante alcista, honestamente, esto, a menos de que algo extraño pase, no tiene por qué ir para abajo. Y también importante que esté el 18.37 en la diaria, el EMA 9 junto con esta resistencia o soporte que probablemente vaya a venir a retestearlo antes de seguir el movimiento para arriba. Ok. Snap. Is that what you got, Alex? You're muted, sir.
Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. Snapchat. You know, this is a very interesting stock that I like to watch. It's interesting in the sense that it's very disappointing. I mean, Snapchat doesn't have a lot to offer in regards to making money with advertisings, like with advertisers, where like Apple, Facebook, Instagram, all those, they have more of an advantage. I remember in my
Indeed.
e-commerce days, I was like one of the first people to. This is when Snapchat ads kind of came out with their platform. I remember back then, you had hundreds of videos on Facebook ad systems, how to scale Facebook ads, do lookalike audiences, etc. Nothing on Snapchat. So it is always interesting to see. But moral of the story is, it's hard for e-commerce stores to implement Snapchat ads, which is a big driving force on Facebook. Facebook makes a lot of their money through advertising. And the chart tells us that. Like, this chart doesn't look good. It essentially right now, the monthly is breaking down. Let's just start there. We'll just go higher time frames or lower time frames. The monthly is breaking down right now after losing the 9, which makes sense. The last month's closure would have been your signal. Okay, I need to get out of this. If you were holding, let's say, a trade, you could argue this could turn into maybe an inverse head and shoulders, but I don't put a lot of weight on that as of right now, especially on this monthly. But you could argue that maybe here,
and technically it would have been invalidated because we're below the neckline currently.
Perfect. So then, so that's invalidated. The monthly, though, it's not looking good. We have a lot of momentum and we're in that gray area, and you're going to see that more visibly on the weekly. We're just in this gray zone here. We're not really, we're almost at support when we went down. By a few cents, we missed it, and now we're just kind of in the middle. Something interesting about this chart is, we have a massive resistance right at $11.20, $11.60, right around there. That's unfortunate for bulls, because even if they get an impressive rally up to that point, which would be 21% ish, it's still at massive resistance, and it wouldn't technically do much for the chart. You can see Snapchat likes to range. This is weekly too. Likes to be in this range here. And that's kind of where we're back in now. We fell right back into it. So it makes sense to rally back up here. Kind of like this, we dumped into the range, trekked up, rallied up, went to the 9, and where did we find resistance? Perfectly at the weekly EMA 9. And that's kind of the same theory I'm going with on this one, except I have more confluence because the 9 lines up perfectly with my meme line, whereas this one made it a little harder because it was a little above it. So when I get a major moving average essentially lining up with my chart, my meme line, I like that. It makes it easy for me to play that, or at least have an easy visual. Then I kind of know where I'm wrong and I know where I'm right. And that's what I see on the weekly. The weekly looks like, it was a fresh breakdown. It makes sense we're going to have a mean reversion bounce, but that's all it is on my book, because this area here has been a big point where price really can't get above it. It tried and it did here, and the reaction was true, and it was good. From getting back above this point, it led to a nice rally of 50%. Falling back into this point is really not good for the chart. This was a big point, big level that bulls needed to hold. You can't claim deviation yet because we haven't deviated anything. We're just at the bottom of the range now. So as it stands, yeah, a move up here wouldn't surprise me. Let's see if any lower time frames are confirming that, though, because when you're in an aggressive downtrend like this, it's hard to say a 23% move wouldn't surprise me when the chart's looking so bearish. And the daily, if we go and throw this daily here, you can see this now at resistance, simply put. And this daily has been an area where price has been rejecting off this point the entire time. So
you also see it across to the downside.
Oh, really? On the daily?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Good eye. So 100% right. Yeah, you see at 21 falling right below that 55, leaving the 55 above it. Not strong at all for bulls. Very strong for bears. And that silver cross here, what it told you, there's some heavy weakness on this chart. We can see it. I'm almost certain it confirmed right around July 25th, July 26th, right before the capitulation of the stump here. So very, very good point, Alejandro. And, if we do get back above the 9, I'd look at the 21 then to reject, and that's just simply put, but right now as it stands, we have to look at this as resistance and potentially another, lower high on a very shallow, which is unfortunate, but that's what you get when you have very aggressive downtrends, right? You dump, you pump up just a little bit, form another very shallow lower high, come down. You pump up, very shallow, dump. Is that what we're seeing now? Right here at the 9. Something to watch. We have the silver cross to the downside, so we know that this dump is, has legs for sure. And if we look at BBWP, it is at extremes, which is what we'd expect. So consolidation would be very welcomed here. I'm curious actually to see if the weekly silver crossed, and it is freshly silver crushed right here. So that's not good. That's even stronger than the daily, and it's a lot fresher in my opinion. I haven't back tested this personally on a weekly silver cross. Last time it happened, what the reaction was. We can see it slightly did here, but then it got invalidated. So that's something we'll be eyeing. Overall,
even
though,
then, that's a 25% fucking drop.
Is it? Let me see, because I kind of briefly, visually, I'm like, yeah, it wasn't that big, but yeah, actually, let me check that out. That's a good point. Jesus, yeah, you're right on that. My God,
it's fucking huge. Yeah.
So long story short, this chart doesn't look good at all. Watch basically, since we have this fresh, okay, cool. Now we have a silver cross on the weekly. What's the trigger? I mean, I think, and Farner can correct me if I'm wrong, per the book, you short or long the 9.
Yeah, the 9
so
is used as your entry.
exactly. And where's that 9 coming up perfectly? Right in that meme area here. I don't find that a coincidence. So I'd look at that as major resistance until proven otherwise, especially with a fresh silver cross to the downside. Something to mentally note, because as Alejandro mentioned, when you're getting 20% moves on these crosses, it means it works. And that's still a long ways. I mean, let's just assume we go up to the 9, and then from there we dump 20%. Let's just see.
Basically there, no?
Yeah, I mean, that's assuming you take entry at the 9 and then it dumps 20%. If, let's say, we just reject here at the daily, I mean, 20% more would essentially bring us to $7. I am interested to see kind of what a bearish retracement would look like. See if we get any kind of confluence. Unsure if we will. Let me just go on let me do it on the 2-day. Let me take it from, I'll just do this range high to range low, essentially, just for the 2-day representation right here. Yeah, let me get on the closure there. I don't find it coincidence that the 382 is lining up perfectly right around that $10 area. So, something to watch. Lots of resistance right around $11. I don't think it's going to negative, so I'm unsure. I don't know why the retracements keep giving me negatives. It could be because I'm doing them wrong, but I'm almost certain I'm not. So I just think that maybe it's just weak. I don't know what that would mean. Maybe Farn, you'd know why. 2 charts now, bearish retracements are going to be negatives. I mean,
Usually whenever it gives you a negative number, you have to disregard that number. Then you have to go off of basic previous technical analysis, or
okay.
you can switch to a different time frame,
Right.
and then it'll give you something that's not a negative number.
I see. Okay, so then let me try it on the well, yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, overall, the chart just doesn't look good. We have resistance, major resistance, and especially with that fresh silver cross, especially
You
on the
got lower
weekly, it's not good.
highs.
So, per the book, look at yeah, you do, and you also could argue this was some double top here. I mean, this was the lower
Mhm.
high leading to the downside, the breakdown. Clean double top though. So, yeah, I mean, I would look at this as an opportunity if we get a rally into this $11 region as an opportunity to short. And I only say that just because the trend is down. We have a freshly too on the weekly silver cross to the downside, and we have the 9 very easily giving us the easy trade, lining up with our resistance. So something to watch while we move into this weekly closure. But as it stands, yeah, I'm looking at this max upside, in my opinion, is that high $11. If we don't already roll over, because if we go and look at the daily, we are at resistance here. So it's really simple to me. If the daily can reclaim this 9, which keep in mind, this is the first tap officially now. So we'd expect some pullback here, especially in the first tap on a big drop. We'd expect, some pullback here. The question is, do we break this low and break down right at $8.30? Or do we reclaim this for the closure, giving us the momentum to press up in this resistance? If we do, we can't disregard that as bullish. We have to look at that as a bearish retest with also a fresh weekly silver cross, giving us that EMA 9 trigger. As it stands, though, not bullish. I'm looking now just for the retest to go back to $7.
And to add confluence onto that, the monthly has confirmed hidden bearish divergence.
Yikes. Yeah, that's not good at all.
I think it's going to $6.
Yeah, I could see that. We basically come and test these lows here. Would not surprise me, especially with the weekly. Let me just draw this line here right at this point. It would not surprise me if we went to 6. Would not at all. Or even lower. And the reason I said is because if we look at monthly BBWP, in confluence with the Bollinger Bands, we have, okay, so we have 3 things. We have the weekly BBWP the monthly Bollinger Bands along with that fresh silver cross to the downside. You know, it's giving me a more greater statistical chance that we're going to get a big move down than up. And we see that it's, you know, just at that point where we can get the expansion here. So, you know, breakout confirmed, I guess, if we break this low here. No, this low here at $7.34. The lower band here sits right around there at $7. You know, with BBWP looking like it wants to go, and that weekly silver cross to the downside. It's very interesting to see where Snapchat will look in the next few weeks. Very interesting, because as it stands, it looks bad. It looks like it wants more down. And if we even by chance get this move up, I'll just look at that as a shorting opportunity, and people will most likely sell their bags. So lots of repair before Snapchat can look good. It doesn't look the best. Bull hopium is we just range for a long time, range. And then
Yes.
you know, get all these moving averages more down, maybe form some lower time frame structure, and then we can have a shot to go up. But that would take many months of ranging. And as it stands, it seems like the easier momentum trade is to the downside. So
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And I'll leave you with gold for after.
okay,
Farhan's going to be doing XRP very soon. Provide some hopium. We're ready, dude. We're fucking ready. Ok, esto es Snapchat, damas y caballeros. Esta es la gráfica horrenda de Snapchat que parece un arbolito de Navidad con esta gran caída tan potente. Y podemos ver justamente dónde está el precio en este momento. Esta es una gráfica mensual. Ha tenido un máximo histórico de 83.34, 83.40 y hemos visto bajos históricos, el bajo más bajo en 4.82. Vamos a usar cierre de velas en 5.43. Ok, para empezar, en la tabla mensual hay una divergencia bajista escondida en el RSI, para que sepamos eso. También hemos visto que tuvimos este cruce plateado a la baja en la mensual, donde el 55 se va por encima del 21, el 21 cae por abajo. Y aparte perdimos el EMA 9. Entonces hemos básicamente perdido cualquier tipo de soporte. Otra cosa que es importante ver acá es, acabas de pintar altos más bajos. Estos altos son más bajos que estos. Y también tienes bajos más bajos, justamente acá. Entonces tienes una tendencia bajista local en la semanal. Ahora vamos a ver rápidamente la mensual. Ahora vamos a ver la semanal. Déjenme un segundito, quito esto. Y también estamos viendo un poco de lo mismo. En la semanal, viste que aquí justamente tienes otro cruce plateado a la baja. Y esto todavía no da el movimiento fuerte. Tenemos este movimiento fuerte de acá, pero este fue antes del cruce plateado, así que muy probablemente esperamos un poco más de esto a la baja. Los últimos cruces plateados que hemos visto a la baja, que fue literalmente aquí, puedes ver que el precio literalmente fue de ahí, acá, es un 20%. Entonces, no es nada como para tomarlo a la ligera. Si estás hablando de un 20% desde acá a donde sea el 20% de esto, estás hablando de que se va el precio a $7. Lo mismo estamos viendo en la diaria, honestamente. Ves acá otro cruce plateado, tienes toda esta caída de precio y ahorita está retesteando la 9. Recuerda que cuando tienes un cruce plateado a la baja o a la alza, quieres usar el 9 como el factor que vayas o a usar para usar de short o para hacer un long. Y ahorita en este momento, como es bajista la tendencia, lo usarías para el short, pero lo usas en la temporalidad que buscas, que es acá, donde también va a coincidir perfectamente con esta resistencia o soporte en los 11.28. Entonces, el precio probablemente venga a retestear eso, pero aquí no haces un long porque te puedes shakear para abajo, puedes simplemente seguir cayendo. Aquí la apuesta más segura y la que más probabilidades te da de ganar es esperarte a que el precio vaya una vez más en la semanal a retestear el 9 y cuando reteste el 9, abrir tu short ahí y identificar muy bien dónde vas a poner tu stop loss arriba de eso y de ahí tendrías el dump run. Pero tenemos que confirmarlo. Otra cosa que yo noté, y esto es con mi análisis técnico pinche, es esto. Aquí hay un canal y el canal nos dice exactamente a dónde puede ir el precio si colocas esto así. Y puedes ver cómo esto era soporte y ahora es resistencia y la parte de abajo del canal te lleva a los 3.11. O si lo quieres ser un poco más tranquilo, ¿no? Que también te lleva a este punto de confluencia con esto y todos los demás puntos, te llevaría a un precio por ahí de los $5, que se me hace interesante porque también coincide con lo que estamos diciendo que podría pasar. Así que Snapchat tiene cara que se va a ir al pito. Muchas felicidades a Spiegel, a Aaron Spiegel, por decirle que no a Mark Zuckerberg y ahora su empresa vale $15 billones. Nada mal para una empresa que va en caída libre. Perfecto. All right, Farhan. It's your motherfucking time, son. Let's do it.
XRP.
Vamos a ir con XRP. Solo vamos a hacer XRP porque una por persona, mi estimadísimo Luis.
All right, so we're going to start with the weekly on XRP. The first thing I want to show you is for comparison. I want to show you Bitcoin on the weekly. Here's what Bitcoin on the weekly looks like. Does not look very good at all. It looks kind of shit.
Yeah.
Look at XRP on the weekly.
It's looking prime.
Damn, son, it's above the fucking blue zone.
Not only is it above all
know.
of that, but we have a fresh silver cross on the weekly on XRP right here.
Ooh, I can see everybody here buying XRP right now.
When's the last time we had that? It was right in this zone. Price did. Let's go to the wick. Price did a 104% move from there. So as long as we're above this zone, as long as we're above these EMAs, we would have to target this 78.6% level, which right now is at 70 cents. I do believe I threw out a number of 69 cents a little while ago. Very nice number. Probably hits that. Goes up to 70. Gets a little bit of a consolidation. I don't think it's going to break straight through, but I think it'll consolidate there and then go upwards to 80 cents as long as we're above. Right now, my invalidation is at 56 cents. So as long as we're above there on a weekly close, we'd have to keep targeting higher. When we look at our momentum indicators, we're getting a fresh breakout into the bullish control zone. We're getting volatility supporting it as well. And we're getting the jewel about to have the pink cross above the yellow when all of them are bunched together, which is one of the most picture-perfect jewel buy signals that you can get. So we have that. We look at the 5-day right here. The 5-day ended up making this huge hammerhead. It confirmed a silver cross. We tested the 9 EMA, and now we're basing off the 9 EMA and getting some expansion off of there. Based off this setup, we have to look at the 38.2 and then the 50%. Right now, 38.2 is at 63 cents, and the 50% is at 66.5 cents. Our momentum indicators right here are slightly pointed down, which are telling us that this is probably a consolidation zone instead of an expansion zone. But based off the weekly, it's telling us, and that also lines up with this 200 SMA, where we probably tap it, consolidate a little bit, and get a move from there. When we go to the daily is looking insanely strong on XRP right now, where we ended up going back into the blue zone. We rejected a little bit, and now we're getting expansion. We're brushing up right up against it, and we're not really getting that much rejection. We still have 7 hours to go, but if we do break above this zone, we have to target this 61.8, which right now is at 62 cents. Let's see if we can draw a little bit of a retracement. And that zone lines up right here around the 78.6. Tomorrow, this level is going to come down. Very likely it's going to be over here. And then we would have to target from there that same 80-cent level I was talking about before. This number is also going to come down. Probably going to be somewhere around 81 to 82 cents when I was looking at before. So based off all of these setups, XRP to me is looking like the most bullish coin on the market right now, which is telling me XRP is probably about to announce something. We look at the quarterly candle. We tested perfectly down to the median. We held it as support. We made a huge wick, and now we're about to close above it. We still have a month to go. But if we do close above the median, and if the weekly setup plays out, that takes us to our previous mid 70 cent area. If we get a close above there, that's where those big targets come out from XRP, where it's around $1.50 to $1.60. That happens, I'm dumping my entire bag, and I'm saying peace out to XRP. I'll see you guys in the next 4 years. But we're looking at the
next 8 years.
Probably. We're looking at the jewel on the quarterly, and right now, not only do we have a buy signal, but we have a confirmed buy signal, which also pushes towards my previous bias that I've been having for over the past couple of weeks, that XRP is on the verge of breaking out. If you look at this over the entire history of XRP, I don't really like to use these, but if you were to draw these lines, This is kind of like what you would call a pennant or a symmetrical triangle. Not a symmetrical, yeah, I think a symmetrical triangle, where we have that right here, and we're literally at the apex of it. Whenever these things do break out, they break out somewhere in this zone, and you would expect like this usually has a 50-50 to break out to the upside or the downside. What's giving me my bias towards the upside though is that we're still above the median and we have the buy signal on the jewel. So if we were to get a little bit of a measured move from here, remember this is not going to be very exact because this is a quarterly and these numbers will move. Let me turn off the magnet. This is annoying me. And by the way, I'm not saying this it's going to go here. I'm just saying this is what the measured move is giving us. It's absolutely not going to go here at all. Most likely it's going to top out run here because these things like to be traps. Everybody else is looking at these same things as well. You get a little bit of a breakout, it'll be a very significant move up to the $1.50, $1.60 area, retested these 2021 highs. And in my opinion, like I wouldn't short it there, but I would sell everything I have there and I would expect it to top out there for the cycle.
What's the number that you got off of that? I'm sorry.
Oh, that was $18. XRP would have the largest market cap of like anything ever if it hit $18.
God.
It'll be bigger than the entire real estate market.
Let's see if there's any divergences on XRP.
Let's see.
I promise you guys, they're not paying me to say this.
I'm pretty sure they are. There's no way otherwise.
Yeah, they gave me $300.
They gave me 300 XRPs.
300 XRPs. I've been scammed, sir.
That's right.
No divergences, none yet. Nah, we're getting nothing from there. Let's look at the stochastic momentum. And my favorite chart to use for XRP is the US dollar variant and not the Tether variant because XRP has been around a lot longer than Tether has. So we look at the monthly on XRP, close over 57 cents this month, and we're going to get a fresh cross to the upside. Not only that, but we're going to get a rejection of the bearish control zone. So that's telling us the bears tried to take control and they were not strong enough to push it down. And then we get a mean reversion move from there. And right now, the momentum has been to the downside. So if that flips back up, bulls will strongly be back in control, and then they would push momentum back towards the middle zone. And during that push to the middle zone on momentum, in my opinion, would be enough to get us to that mid 70s to 80 cent target. Let's go to the weekly. Weekly is strongly pointed towards the upside with volatility support as well. As long as we don't close above 58 cents, that initial theory will still play out, and we should be looking towards mid 70s to 80 cent level. Let's go to the daily.
Wait, you mean closing above 58 cents?
Yeah, we have to close above 58 cents. Then momentum is to the upside. If we close below, then it turns back down.
And that's on the weekly, right?
Yeah. And right now on the daily, we're getting the same thing where price moved into the bullish control zone. It tried to move out of it. The bears were not able to get it out of it, and now it's flipping back up. And currently, price is still pointed to the upside within the bullish control zone, which is in the same number. It's at 58 cents. As long as we keep closing above 58 cents on the daily and the weekly, that would be my indication for the breakout to the higher targets of around 75 cents to 80 cents. And that's giving us basically the same. Let's see if there's any stochastic divergences.
Look at it. It's about to go to 59 cents.
There's not. So, yeah, that's basically what I have. Where all of my momentum indicators are telling me it's pointing to the upside. We're getting a strong jewel buy signal on the quarterly, and it's looking significantly stronger than Bitcoin. So right now, XRP is literally the only coin that I'm bullish on right now. I'm cautiously bearish on Bitcoin, leaning like 65% bearish on Bitcoin. XRP, I'm bullish like 75% or 80% until we lose. I don't want to see lose 58 cents. That's not going to flip me completely. If we lose 56 cents and we close below it, at that point, I would say, okay, this bullish thesis is invalidated, and we have to look for at least some consolidation and down before we can try again. But until then, I'm extremely bullish on XRP. And full disclosure, I am a holder of XRP as well.
That makes sense. By the way, that makes sense.
No financial incentive at all.
No. Just buy it, please, everybody. Okay. Vamos a analizar XRP, que es Ripple para todo el mundo. Como dice Farhan, algo algo parece que van a anunciar porque la tabla se ve bastante bien, sobre todo cuando ves la mensual, la cantidad de consolidación que lleva desde el principio. Básicamente estás viendo que está en este triángulo desde el 2018, bueno, 2017 en realidad, y está a punto de llegar al Apex, que es donde tiene la reventada dura. Ahora, voy a ponerlo rápido en la semanal y ahorrarles todo el mame, pero básicamente con que cerremos la semanal arriba de los 58 centavos, probablemente nuestro siguiente objetivo van a ser los 70 centavos y de ahí los 80 centavos. En lo que se refiere a la diaria, simplemente no queremos bajar de 56. No queremos perder 56 para no salirnos del trade. Tuviste un Silver Cross a la alza en el julio 24, pero me parece que la semanal acaba de pasar, está pasando en este momento aquí. Y eso sería bastante alcista. Vieron el movimiento que hizo la última vez. No sabemos qué es lo que vaya a anunciar XRP, pero tiene buena cara, siempre y cuando no baje y tenga cierres abajo de 56 centavos. Está Farhan 75% alcista y, y dice que el precio se ve muy bien. Personalmente no está él cree que esto es la mejor tabla que hay ahorita en este momento en cripto. Estoy de acuerdo con él, pero no entiendo el por qué o cómo. Pero bueno, no es importante eso. Si estás viendo la tabla, es la tabla y la tabla te dice que próximamente anunciarán algo que justifique el movimiento. Así que interesante por aquí. Alrighty, Alex, we're ready for gold. Gold.
Nice. All right, cool. So we have gold here. You know, gold's interesting because I was pretty bearish on it. I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah, right before we broke out. Which was kind of surprising to me because it wasn't looking good. And I'll kind of show what I was seeing. But, you know, I put a bullish retracement here, and I'm getting a target now, measured move. You can see we perfectly, essentially, on the weekly here, is basing off the 236 pretty nicely. Got the expansion. Now we're checking up. You know, and I have next measured move at 2,952 over time, of course, it being a weekly, but not bad. And we see here on my chart, you know, so gold I wasn't expecting this big breakout last week, honestly. And this is why I don't trade gold, because I'm not familiar with it. I don't get a vibe with it. You know, I was looking at this breakdown here. Granted, we essentially didn't lose the 9. So that was the upside on the why I didn't even trade this or post on the Discord. But, you know, I was looking just basically at this formation here. You know, potential M pattern, but it definitely was not. It actually turned into a W, which is fine. So gold is very strong. It's hard to play. I drew this line on stream, and it is representing that we're now basing off this wick high rejection here. You know, we deviated. Now the third one, we're holding it. Strong. This is a very strong chart. You know, I really can't say anything other than that. Gold's looking quite good on all time frames here. Look at this monthly formation. This is insane. You know, we had a nice move down in the beginning of this month, only for it to get pretty bought up. And now it's, you know, bulls are totally in control when I'm looking at this chart. So, you know, something to watch, right? If any monthly we get, you know, if we get a move back down to here, the thing about this chart is it's so bullish that even if we get a move down to 2,280, we'll say 2,290, it still would be bullish on the higher time frames. You know, and it would still be okay. So solidifying that, yeah, there is just a lot of strength in this chart, and everyone knows that. I mean, gold's been having an impressive bid essentially since 2023. Kind of right when those bank collapse, and also right when Bitcoin had its nice rally. You know, so the momentum is there, steady uptrend. I don't really have too much else to say about it. I mean, except for the Fibonacci extension has us going to 2,900. The weekly has nice support now, right at this 2,430. And I'd look at basically this, I guess, tan line to keep holding right at 2,448, 2,450. I'd expect that to hold. And why? Because we're just in a very strong uptrend. So in a strong uptrends, you want to flip the rejection highs into support, which is kind of what we've seen. with this one, and now it'd be with this tan one. So, could we get a pullback? For sure. But I'd be looking at maybe this area here, this region, which is lining up with the 9 to hold. If not, then we have the 21. And if we lose that, then fine. We've just segued to the monthly. And that was the point I was mentioning. The monthly, it's very strong. And the 9 is very far away from price. So if we do come back and hit this, that wouldn't be the best sign, but it also wouldn't mean it's over for gold bull. The gold bulls. That sounds weird. That sounds like
gold bulls. Yeah. Gold bulls.
Weird.
Mr. Peter Schiff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
it's
got
true.
gold bulls.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's looking great. We have just this breakout's looking nice. I don't know. I mean, gold, it's kind of interesting how, it really played into the inflation hedge, I guess, is what I should say. It's definitely playing into that, just like Bitcoin. It is interesting to see gold more stronger than Bitcoin as it stands. We have Bitcoin's monthly not looking great, and gold's monthly is looking stellar. Let's just look at this one more time. Stellar. BBWP as well, as it's coming to extremes now, for sure. So it's definitely at the level where it definitely can come back and have some consolidation. This is closing in 11 days. As it stands, yeah, this is insane. I mean, I can't believe in this month we went down to 2,360. And now we're pressing all-time highs at 2,500 on gold. Yeah, exactly.
Barely moves.
It's insane. I am just out of curiosity. I mean, yeah, this is a 6% this month. That is absolutely absurd if you really think about that, because of the amount of money in gold.
I just think gold is telling you about the valuation of your coin and of all coins around the world, like all fiat. And I think Bitcoin is more, like I said, it's more of a monetary supply type of indicator. Whereas it loves inflation, it hates when prices go down. It wants high demand, high what's it called? High economic activity is good for Bitcoin, whereas it's the opposite for gold. I think they're very different.
That makes sense. I know there was some correlation with gold versus Bitcoin if we put it on a comparison chart. I don't know. I don't know too much about gold, so I can't for sure say that. I just have heard someone that I know talk about the correlation with gold and Bitcoin, at least in the 2023, 2024 rally. But granted, everything was going up, so I mean, it's hard to.
Yeah, you also had a mixture of everything. You had devaluation at the same time that you had all the good stuff that makes gold. That's what makes gold go up, and at the same time, you had so much money printing all around the world.
You know what goes with that? Have you guys checked out the M2 money supply chart recently?
Oh yeah,
it looks like it's making a higher low and it's about to break out to new highs.
Let me see.
It's M2SL.
M2SL money stock. Here it is. God damn.
Yeah, that's looking good.
This is a 3-month chart, though.
Yeah, because it's such a high type of asset that it doesn't let you look at it from lower time frames.
Holy ballsack.
Interesting. I've never seen that. Huh.
The unemployment one is the same. This is wild. And then you're past this. God damn. So what is it now? 21 trillion?
Very small amount of money.
In January 21, October 2020. You can't see it on a regular monthly. Yeah, regular monthly you can. See, we had lost the 9 and the 21 for a little bit.
Yeah,
and now it's going back
reclaim.
up. When was this? September 2022. Interesting. And what was the bottom? Around October 2023.
When Bitcoin originally started its major rally.
And and then it started to go up again. Interesting. It's not as clear as I'd like it to be.
Yeah.
The relation. I guess you can do M2SL. And let me invert it.
That kind of looks like bullish consolidation to me.
Yeah, but it's inverted. So it would be bearish.
Yeah.
That's the way it looks in real life.
Interesting.
Here. Still a new high, though, up here.
Yeah, true.
You did retest here, and now you're going back up. So it kind of looks fucking bullish. I guess I need to figure out exactly how to use this. What were we looking at? I'm sorry.
Gold.
XRP. No, gold. Sorry.
So,
Okay.
I mean, long story short, in summary, gold's bullish as fuck. I mean, it broke out, broke a new high. Consolidation would be welcomed. You know, just like what I did here on this tan right here is I'm going to just do it right here. We just draw another meme line to the high. Uber bullish markets. This will just base the last rejection high into support, which is kind of what we're seeing here. Now, are we going to just blast through here? Probably not, but consolidation above here, very welcomed. If we start coming down, still okay. I'd just be focused on the weekly then. You know, overall, very strong chart, very, very strong, and insane weekly. So, you know, we'll see how this week goes, but yeah, overall strong chart, nice breakout, you know, above every major moving average. And, you know, the bullish retracement zone that I put, next stop is not to that 2,900 area. Most likely happens, you know, within a few years, inshallah. So we shall see. Because yeah, that's like, look at that 12-month. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm looking. The quarterly is insane.
You guys already know Peter Schiff goes to sleep watching these every night.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah,
he waited.
wow.
He waited like 40 years for this to happen. For gold to go up 20%.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the boomer of all boomers.
We're having yearly Bollinger Bands break, and you know what I like about gold is it's so much data with gold that, you know, these are pretty accurate. So, you know, when I go and see that the monthly Bollinger, the yearly Bollinger Band are breaking out, we're well above now. It just solidifies what I was saying, that, you know, the top of this band here is sitting at, like, I can't even see. Let me see. It's at 2,340. So, I mean, even if, let's say, assuming we get some kind of in a few months, I mean, we could be back testing the top of the band, but, you know, this is a yearly thing, so it's obviously not going to be closing anytime soon. But it just solidifies. Yeah, this breakout's insane. Crazy move on gold. Very strong, and, you know, that's all I have, really. I mean, I honestly wouldn't doubt that the fib retracement probably does get hit sometime. So
yeah, it's fucking crazy. Lots of momentum right now. I mean, probably what this is telling us is that they're gonna just print an obscene amount of new money that is gonna absolutely destroy the value of our dollars. So enjoy that, boys. Enjoy that.
You know what adds confluence to that?
What?
Which president has printed the most out of any one in modern history, and which one is favored to win the election?
Well, Donald Trump. And he told the last three presidents have printed more money in a deficit than all of the other presidents combined together. And it's still like not something that they're attacking, right? They're not talking about spending less. They're just saying, buy Bitcoin. You're going to buy your Bitcoin. You're going to love wearing the Bitcoin. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to have fun with it. You're going to play with it. You're going to lick your balls. All righty. Let me get with gold. Estamos viendo una tabla anual de Bitcoin. Cada una de estas velas es un año. Vean esta. La potencia que lleva y aparte lo arriba que está de todos los promedios que existen. Es de verdad una verdadera locura. Acá les voy a enseñar la mensual para que vean la fuerza que lleva el oro a la alza. 2,505, estamos literalmente casi en los máximos históricos que acabamos de romper y es bastante difícil poder sacar un estimado hasta dónde puede subir esto. Personalmente yo creo que los 2,700, voy a poner 2,777 como mi objetivo final antes de que haya un retroceso importante en esto. ¿De dónde lo estoy sacando? Ya verán, simplemente lo voy a poner esta vez. Pero no hay, o sea, no hay que decir. El oro y la razón por la que el oro probablemente esté subiendo con esta fuerza es porque, en mi opinión, el oro te dice devaluación. El oro te indica devaluación, no inflación. Bitcoin va más con la masa monetaria, inflación, deflación, etcétera. El oro te está diciendo, güey, mientras más subo, menos vale tu dinero. Es literalmente lo único, en mi opinión personal, que el oro está haciendo, que es preservar valor en contra de la absoluta destrucción de tu moneda. Y es lo que estás viendo con el oro. Estamos arriba el IMI9 en la semanal también, arriba del 21, arriba del 55, arriba de todo y con demasiada fuerza. No hay cómo medir algo cuando estés literalmente en la parte hasta arriba. Todos son absolutas chaquetas mentales, pero pues no hay nada que tenga cara que vaya a detener este tren, señores. Absolutamente nada. Déjenme ver si aquí encuentro algo de cagada en este punto pivote que es bastante importante. Sí, ese fue el más alto de ese entonces. Sí, 2,737. 2000, es a lo que voy. Más o menos yo creo que por ahí podríamos encontrar el máximo del oro en esta potente, potente run, esta corrida que tenga. Espérenme. Lo hice mal. Y ve, justamente se fue a apoyar ahí. No diría que esto está tan perdido y que podamos ir a los 2,700 y cacho. ¿Sí? Tiene cara, pero de nuevo, esto es simplemente especular, no tenemos ni idea, pero si esto sigue subiendo, me está diciendo que van a imprimir una cantidad de dinero absolutamente abismal y van a destruir el valor de todo y va a haber más inflación de lo que les gustaría en todo lo que es esencial y de nuevo deflación en todo lo que no nos importa. Who wants to do Nvidia?
I'll get that one.
Before you get that one, let me just do a disgusting plug. For everyone to come over and look at this. Recuerden y les dejé, me parece que lo tengo acá todavía, así es efectivamente. Únanse al Discord de Elite Trading Academy, es completamente gratis, vénganse a platicar, aquí lo tienen, solamente tienen que darle al enlace, aceptar la invitación, aquí tienen el análisis de Alex, aquí tienen el análisis de Farhan. Aquí tienen todo lo que es socios oficiales, que es BitGet como exchange para poder tradear futuros de Bitcoin, de cripto y lo que necesiten. Funciona en todo el mundo, menos en Estados Unidos y requiere KYC, tiene buenos fees. Aquí tenemos Bluffing, que es un exchange que no requiere KYC, funciona en Estados Unidos y en todo el mundo. Los fees son mejores en BitGet que en Bluffing, pero Bluffing es más fácil. Y acá tienen TradingView para todos ustedes que todavía no tengan TradingView en su computadora. Aquí lo tienen, se llevan un descuento y todo esto tiene diferentes premios y diferentes cosas que les den. Aquí vienen a decir hola, aquí vienen a pedir qué tipo de tabla quieren ver, aquí vienen a leer las noticias, aquí vienen a leer cuánto se está llevando la... Dude. God damn.
Wow, nice to see that.
Yeah, holy shit. Digo, un 16% es bueno, pero un 187%, verga. General, aquí andamos todos y por favor tengan cuidado, no les vamos a mandar nadie, ni Alex, ni Farhan, ni yo, mensajes para ver si quieren hacer algo con nosotros después de la escuela. O sea, para nada, para nada, para nada, para nada. Ténganlo en mente, por favor. Regresamos a las tablas. All right, who's doing Nvidia?
Let me share my screen.
Do it, son.
All right, so we're looking at Nvidia on the weekly. So previously, we've had this silver cross ever since February of 2023, where Nvidia went absolutely parabolic. We came back, retested the 21, retested the 21. Every single time the 21 has held a support. Right now, we've broken back above the 21, and we're above the 9. If you look at our momentum indicators, they're basically fully reset now. And this week, we have about 4 days left. If we close above $126.09, momentum will flip back up to the upside, and it'll be a rejection of getting out of the bullish control zone. So that's going to tell us that bulls are strongly in control. And aside from that, Notice this low right here, significantly lower than this low, right? But look at price action. It's a lot higher. So that gives us hidden bullish divergence if that's confirmed. And the way to confirm that is based off of this low, you would have to close above this previous candle's this one here, which is at $92. And to get an even stronger signal, if you close above this one at 106, that would confirm us multiple drives of hidden bullish divergence. At that point, volatility has been resetting after this entire move down, which tells us that this was more likely a corrective move. And then from there, volatility will start to re-expand, and it will support this momentum to the upside, and the hidden bullish divergence will play out. If you look at the monthly corrected down exactly to the 9 EMA, where it's been holding at ever since January of 2023 when price was at $14. It's been holding that perfectly. Momentum is about to turn back down. The pivot is $133. So we have 11 days left. If this weekly does end up confirming that hidden bullish divergence, very likely that's going to push into the monthly. The monthly will flip back up. And the monthly will also give us some hidden bullish divergence here because this one is a little bit lower than this one and the price is significantly higher.
And that's 126, right?
For the weekly pivot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 126. If it closes over 126, then you've confirmed it and momentum is back to the upside and you have hidden bullish divergence. Let me see if I can get any type of reasonable target from this.
I mean, it's got to go to 200, right? So that it's like complete mania.
I go to this one, actually. Our mid-cycle refresh. So right now we're basing off of this golden pocket and we're about to close above the 78.6. You'd consider this as the breakout zone. You break above that, you would get your next logical target of the 161.8, which is around $180.80. I don't think it will stop there because it's so close to that psychological $200 level. I feel like it's going to push a lot of stop losses and liquidations and push it up to that 200 area. But I feel like because it's such a psychological level, it's probably going to reject at least on the first tap at $200. And then we see where it goes from there. If we do get any bearish divergence from there, especially on the weekly or the monthly, then at that point, I would say that it would be safe to say that the cycle top is in for Nvidia. But until then, I just have to closely watch and won't be able to say whether it's in or not until we get that confirmation. Right here on the quarterly, we're getting very extremes on volatility. But since it is a quarterly, it can stay up here for a long time. Like you saw right here, it stayed up here for four sessions. That's a full year that it was in the extreme volatility zone.
Fuck.
So it can stay there for a long time. Like one of my favorite phrases is the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent.
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, especially me.
Me as well. If you look at the 5-day, we're getting that same pivot for $130. This one is most likely not going to flip back up this week. Maybe it does. Maybe we front run that hidden bullish divergence and we push into it and flip this 5-day up. If that happens, I would say it's even more bullish.
I mean, you're $2 away from 130 right now.
If we look at the daily is pointed strongly to the upside. We have a fresh silver cross on the daily right here where we just crossed above the 21 and the 55. Not only that, but we have all of these moving averages bunched up together, which is one of your most ideal silver crosses. So right now, to me, Nvidia on this setup is looking extremely bullish. Let me pull up the first. I want to pull up the RSI divergences, and after that, we'll look at the HPDR.
Sounds good.
We don't have it on the monthly, weekly. Yeah, weekly we already have multiple drives of confirmed hidden bullish divergence. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drives of confirmed hidden bullish divergence in the monthly. Right now, that would give us an easy target of this bullish critical zone, and that number right now is at $185, which lines up perfectly with that Fibonacci extension that we drew out perfect beforehand. Look on the daily, see if there's anything there. The daily also has 3 drives of confirmed bullish divergence within the bearish control zone. Our easy target has already been hit, which is the bullish control zone. In the bullish control zone, this is the bearish control zone. The easy target was hit, and that number is at $128. That number has already been hit. Our next target, if we can close above there, and we do end up having that bullish divergence, we can look at this right here, the top of the bullish critical zone. And that $180 number keeps coming back up. So whenever you see 3 or 4 different setups giving the same number, it gives you a much higher degree of probability of that setup actually playing out and going to that number.
Well, fuck. Well, fuck. All right, let me pass the word along with everybody.
Yeah, and if Nvidia is full on bull to the to the upside again, that's telling us risk is back on in the market, especially in the tech
Absolutely.
sector.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And just like the strength, it's breaking that like downtrend that we draw so long ago on the weekly, on the monthly, on whatever you want to look at it. It's just so strong. Okay. Bueno, para empezar en todos los indicadores de Farhan que tienen que ver con volatilidad y todo esto, nos están indicando que hay literalmente en la mensual, en la semanal y en la diaria, hay muchísimas diferentes divergencias alcistas escondidas al mismo tiempo en diferentes escenarios. Casi todas tienen un mismo objetivo y ese objetivo son por ahí de los 180. ¿Por qué? Porque cuando volteas a ver la mensual te das cuenta de que esta super vela es una vela bastante alcista, siempre y cuando podamos cerrar arriba de 127, 126, no, 127 dólares en la diaria, que ahorita el precio de Nvidia está en 128.13. Vas a irte a buscar el nuevo alto por acá de los 140. De aquí vas a brincar ya a todo lo que estábamos platicando. Pero donde lo voltees a ver, sobre todo en la semanal también puedes ver cómo veniste a probar el 21, ni siquiera llegaste a tocar el 55 y tuviste ese gran rebote, pero en la diaria tienes todavía algo más alcista y estás listo. Y eso es un Silver Cross, un cruce plateado donde se juntan todos los EMAs, este breakout que estás viendo por acá. El precio de Nvidia lleva demasiada fuerza. Y si Nvidia tiene toda esta fuerza, y esto es algo que acaba de decir Farhan, es probablemente que el riesgo en el mercado de valores vaya para arriba. Y es lo que habíamos platicado en X, ¿no? A los que preguntaban que qué significaba todo lo de los bombardeos y los 20,000 millones de dólares para Israel, que mucha gente dijo, eso no mueve nada del mercado. Aquí está el mercado moviéndose para arriba. Así es como funciona cada vez. No entiendo por qué, pero es lo que hace. No me voy a pelear, no voy a intentar investigar el por qué. Es como lo del peso mexicano, ¿no? Si algo funciona y te está diciendo que algo pasa cada que lo ves, pues lo tomas, ¿no? Por más que lo entiendas o no. Entonces, Nvidia tiene demasiada fuerza a la alza, se ve muy bien y yo creo con eso los vamos a dejar el día de hoy. All right, my boy. Let's call it a day. I think you guys have some place to be. It's been 4 hours. It's been good. It's been a good one. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything? You remember that you're muted.
Not that I can think of, aside from Bitcoin is currently trying to break out, but
let's see, where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin in 59,200. See, this is my line on the sand on Bitcoin. This line right here, it just can't get over it. 59,847.
I think I have a very, very similar level.
And yeah, and the 21 is coming down to here. We had a silver cross to the downside, which is this.
Yeah, that's my median on my 6 hours. So if we break above that on the HPDR median, then we will probably go up to like 61.5.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. See, 61.5. I agree.
Perfect.
I agree.
Lines up.
I want to get to 62,800 so I can short, like I can literally go balls to the wall on a short. But we'll see if that even fucking happens. I think right now all the numbers have been coming down, right?
Yeah, all of the pivots are going down a little bit. On the weekly, though, the pivot did go up. So the weekly pivot right now is at 64,500. As long as we're below that, weekly momentum is still to the downside.
Yeah. Well, perhaps yeah. I like this area, this zone right here, the 62,200. Please, price. Please.
I have around 62.5 to 62.7.
Yeah, I mean, still with the 62.7. This is the last part. I would do a 1, 2,
but I'm
3
on the index though, so it makes sense that the numbers are a little bit different.
Got it. All righty. Is there anything else outside of the Bitcoin? Alex, anything else you want to add?
Nope. I'm just watching closely today. We're at the daily EMA 200, daily EMA 9. It was an impressive squeeze. We'll see where we close. Great stream though, boys. Went quick. Yeah, good stream all around.
Oh, thank you, guys, and have a lot of fun. And we'll see you guys on your vacation spot from here, while I fucking just sit here like a total dickwad, and you guys enjoy your lives. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Just gonna say goodbye to everyone, and I'll see you in a little bit right here.
Perfect.
Bueno, y con esto lo tienen el día de hoy. 4 horas del Casino del Tío Salo con Alex con Farhan. Muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes por acompañarnos. Los voy a ver en un rato en un Nadie Me Preguntó. Voy a descansar el cerebro tantito. Bueno, el cerebro, ¿no? El cacahuate que tengo aquí adentro. Les mando un fuerte abrazo. Cuídense mucho. Gracias por todo y nos vemos pronto. Pórtense bien, tíos.